Well, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, and good morning, everybody. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. Welcome to another episode of The Morning Glow. I'm a little disturbed this morning, y'all. I got to go ahead and tell you, I'm a little bit disturbed this morning. Um, our police officers, our police officers are really out of control. I'm sure you all have all heard. I'm sure you all have all heard about the situation that happened with the police officer where the young man was a paraplegic. I think that's how you say it. Please excuse me if I get it wrong, but he was a paraplegic. They pulled him over and they demanded demanded that he get out the car. They demanded that. Let me give y'all the phone number because some of y'all might want to talk about this. 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. They demanded that he get out of the car. And he told them, I can't get out the car. He said he was a paraplegic. He can't get out the car. And they kept demanding that he get out the car. And he kept saying, bring me your white shirt. Bring me the supervisor. Bring me your supervisor because I can't. He can't get out the car. He's a paraplegic. He cannot get out the car. And they did not even heed what he was saying. It became a at that point. From what I hear, from what I hear from that particular conversation, it became a power struggle. It became a power underworld. Johnny, good morning to you, Johnny. Good morning. Good to have you this morning, Johnny. If you're available and anybody else is available, give us a call 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. The phone lines are open this morning. And how in the world this man, he's telling you that he's a paraplegic. He cannot stand up. He can't get up. He's in a wheelchair. And you're trying to force him to get, what did you want him to do? I'm trying to figure out, and somebody please help me understand it. I'm trying to figure out, what did you want him to do? How did you want, if you reach for his wheelchair or whatever, if you reach for the thing, you're gonna 9 times out of 10, you're gonna, if you're in that situation, if you're in that state of mind, 9 times out of 10, you're gonna probably pull a weapon out and try to either tase him, shoot him, kill him, or whatever, because you're out of control. You are totally out of control. Now, you're telling this man to get out the car, get out the car. He say he tell you several times he can't get out the car. Call your white shirt, call your supervisor. He can't get out the car because he's a paraplegic, and he told you he's a paraplegic. He kept telling you he's a paraplegic, and you kept demanding, sir, get out the car, get out the car, and to in the tone of your voice, the tone of your voice, let me know and understand that you were out of control. He was actually in more control than you were. He was in more control than you were, and he was the one that you stopped. Now, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's in Dayton, Ohio. Dayton, Ohio is where this happened. So everybody in and around that area, y'all need to go to y'all local representatives, and y'all need to voice and let it be known that they're wrong, and these police officers should not still be on the street working. And as to my understanding, right now they're still on the street, still working, still have a job. And I heard somebody say, well, the police officers he is unstable. He was unstable. Well, okay, if you're going to use that excuse, if you're going to use that excuse and say that he's unstable, why does he still have a gun and a badge? Do you want to give a gun and a badge? Do you want to give a gun? Let's not even talk about the badge. Do you want to give a gun to an unstable individual? If somebody came into your existence and you know that they were unstable, are you going to give them a gun? Or are you going to put a gun in an unstable person's hand? Rico, good morning to you. Are you going to put a gun in an unstable person's hand? Think about that for a second. The excuse that they're using was the officer was unstable. Okay. Let's say that he was. Then he shouldn't be on the force. He shouldn't have a gun and a badge. He shouldn't be on the street out there to serve and protect individuals. If he is unstable, as you say he are, Lord Jesus. If he is unstable, like you say that he is, if he's that unstable, should he still have a gun and a badge? 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love to hear from you this morning. I'm waiting on Captain Leonard to come in. I don't know if he's gonna call in. He's gonna come in on the video feed with us this morning, because that brother, he's a activist, a real strong, powerful activist. And I want to know what his take is on this situation. Because my thing is, the way I stand on this thing, he should not, this individual or these individuals, if they are unstable, that is the excuse that they use. He's unstable, or he was unstable at that moment. If that be the case, and maybe he was, but if that be the case, have no right being on the force. None. Zero. You know, what's that? Guzman, good morning to you. Good morning to you, God. I want to see your name right. Govden. I hope I said that right. I hope I didn't butcher that. If I did, please forgive me. Good morning to you. But how do you deal with a situation like that? What I mean, I like I said again, I say he shouldn't be on the force. But if this man walk up to an individual, stop a car stop. They said it was a tail light or whatever it was. But they say the guy had a history, and if that be the case, if this guy had a history, like it's coming out in the news, he had a history with the police officers. If that be the case, then you know he's a paraplegic. If you stopped him before, you had some kind of encounter with this individual before, you know he's a paraplegic. You know he cannot walk. You know he has to get around with the assistance of a wheelchair. And if that be the case, if you know, if you say that he has a history, or you all have a history with him, then you know who he is. And if that be the case, again, you know that this young man cannot get up. You know that this man cannot stand up because he has to get around with the assistance of a wheelchair. So how are you going to come up there and demand, hooping, hollering, and screaming that he get out the car? How can you do that if you know this man is a paraplegic? Then what do at that point? You drag this man out of the car. You grab him by his hair and you drag him out of the car, throw him onto the ground. Now he's laying on the ground, face down. He's laying on the ground. Can't get up. You know, you're still barking off instructions. Blah, 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 blah. What do you think the man's gonna do? He's a paraplegic. He gonna get up and run away? What do you think is gonna happen? The man cannot get around without the help and assistance of his wheelchair. So what did you think was going to happen at that moment? I'm going to see, can I pull up that clip? If the clip is still available, I'm going to see, can I pull up that clip, because I want you all, I want to play it for you. And I want the ones that may not have heard about this situation, I want you to hear it. And anybody that has a heart, I don't care whether this person is black, white, orange, polka dot, or lily striped. The way that person, this individual was treated is wrong, was wrong, and going to continue to be wrong until the end of time. Some things you don't do. Like I say, this person is a paraplegic. You don't demand them to get out the car, and then because of the fact that they don't get out the car, you drag them out of the car, throw them onto the ground. A paraplegic. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me. It does not make sense to me at all. But again, y'all help me understand it. Maybe somebody got a clearer view. Yeah, the police officer. Yeah, being a police officer is a very dangerous job. It is. You have to, if there's gunshot or something going on, everybody else's natural reaction is to run away from it. And it's just like a firefighter. You have to run to it. Yes, it's a very dangerous job. But I've never seen anybody go out there and make an individual take this job. You got the job because you wanted it. You got the job because you applied for it. You got the job because you went through the training to be a police officer. You got the job because you accepted the responsibility once you went through the training. You got the job because they gave you an opportunity and you took it. So now that you have the job, I don't want to hear you complaining about it's a very dangerous job. It was a dangerous job when you applied for it. It was a dangerous job when you saw that there's an opening. It was a dangerous job when you took the time to put your application in, It was a dangerous job when you went through the training. It was a dangerous job when you got that, when they gave you the badge, when you finished your training. It was a dangerous job when they gave you your gun. It was a dangerous job when they gave you your vehicle. It was a dangerous job when you went out on the street for the first, second, third, or 10,000th time, based on how long you've been an officer. Please tell me how that changed. If it was if it's a dangerous job now, it was a dangerous job then as well. But you selected to take this job. You selected to be a police officer. And now that you are a police officer, now that you have the job, now you want to tell me how dangerous. Oh, it's so dangerous out here. Then quit. Go find something else to do. If it's a dangerous job, and if you're afraid to do that job, quit. No one's making you stay on that job if you don't want to be on that job. If it's too dangerous and you can't bear to do it, and you're afraid in doing that job, quit. I mean, you're scheduled to be at work at a certain time every day. And every day you get up before that time, get yourself ready, and you drive or commute, however you get to your workplace, you go there. No one forced you. No one forced you. No one made you do it. You did it because you want to. And so I say to you, if it's such a dangerous job and you don't want to do the job anymore, let it go. Be like Teddy Pendergrass. I think I better let it go. What you say about it? Donald Tucson, did I hit that note, brother?
You hit a note.
Boy,
look. It wasn't on the piano, but it was. You hit it.
Boy, look here, boy. I smell some haterade coming through this phone. I feel some hateration coming through here. I feel a little hate, brother. I feel a little hate. I feel it. I feel it.
You know, sometimes you just have to it's tough love.
and let me tell y'all something. There you go. That's the fella right there. I've been getting phone calls, and y'all know who been calling, asking about this show that used to come on To Your Destiny with Tucson. That's the one. That's the one right there. Y'all told me to get him in front of you. There you go, right there. I called him yesterday. I told him about it. I told him what you said. Nick, good morning, Nick. Tucson, and good morning. How you doing this morning?
Doing well, brother. How about you?
Hey, doing good, man. Tell everybody where you from. Come on, tell them where you from, brother. Tell them this Francis City you from. Put it on out there.
I'm gonna be corrected anyway, but I'm from Opelousas, Louisiana. I live in Pascagoula, Mississippi. So now interpret that for everybody. Man.
Okay, just I'm glad you invited me to do that. You're actually from Mississippi. That's where you from, brother. That's the city you from, and they got population of 10,000. Let me say good morning to John, Grace, and again good morning to Nick. But Tucson, I want to ask you a question, man. I know you've probably seen it. Well, Tucson, you don't look at a lot of news, so let me tell you what's going on. You heard about the police officer that stopped the paraplegic gentleman?
It did what?
Police officer pulled over a young man, and he was a paraplegic, couldn't walk, had to get around with the assistance of a wheelchair, and he kept demanding that this man get out the car. And the police officer was really out of control because he was yelling and screaming, get out the car. And the man, he told him, he said, he couldn't get out the car because he's a paraplegic, they had a little conversation. He's told the police officer, he said, look, call your white shirt, call your supervisor. He said, I can't get out the car. He said, he's a paraplegic. And the police officer, out of control at that point, on a power trip, he eventually grabbed the man, pulled him out the car and threw him on the ground, a paraplegic. Now they say that they've had run-ins with this particular man in the past before they said, quote unquote, you know how they always say he have a history. Well, my thing is this, and this is what I can't understand. If you have a history with this man, if you stopped this man before, then you know he's a paraplegic. Why are you gonna sit there and insist that he get out the car when you know he can't? You're gonna grab him, throw him onto the ground, and there he had to stay because it's not like he gonna get up and he gonna run away. Captain Leonard, good morning, sir. What do you say
Good
to that?
morning. How are you?
Hey, doing well, doing well. Tucson, what'd you say to that, brother? What's on your heart?
I think that sometimes it's kind of because they had I don't know, but I know how they operate.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes they just feel like because they over and over and over and over again have certain incidents with the same person. I'm gonna teach him a lesson today,
Mm-hmm. But
and he
she
just got he just did more than he should have. I mean, I don't know, man, because like you said, I don't watch the news because it's depressing
mm-hmm.
to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I know one thing: I knew they wasn't gonna stop after George Floyd,
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
so
Exactly.
they need to prosecute him too
And from
for
what
whatever reason.
from what I understand, Tucson, this police officer that did this, he's still on the job, man. He's still on the
Hmm.
job. He's still on the job.
That's the problem. That's the problem. Right
Mm-hmm.
there.
Yep.
Because they knew his buddies and everybody else know what kind of dude he is.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Mm-hmm.
the problem.
Mm-hmm. And see, that's why I got it. Captain Leonard, I need to hear from your heart. I spoke about you earlier this morning, brother. I know you heard the story, man. This is how they treated this paraplegic, man. They stopped him, told him. Leonard got a smile on his face. Lord Jesus, I don't know what we about to get right now. Leonard got a smile on his face. Oh, Lord. But what do you say to that police officer trying to make the man get out the car, knowing he's a paraplegic? Or from what they say from the reports, they've had encounters with this man before, and if that be the case, then he's a paraplegic. If you had encounters with him before, you know who he is, and you know that he cannot get around without the assistance of a wheelchair. And you're gonna say, "Get out the car, get out the car," trying to force him out of the car, and what he don't, he tell you he's a paraplegic. He tell you can't get out the car. He asks you to call your white shirt, call your supervisor, and get your supervisor here, and all this will be cleared up. But you in the midst of all that stuff, grab the man, grab him, pull him out the car, throw him onto the ground. A paraplegic. Leonard, have I was he out of control, man? Just let's deal with it from that point first. Was he out of control?
Well, first of all, I didn't see it, but the problem is leadership.
Mm-hmm.
They allow him to do that.
Mm-hmm.
People think that police officers, how do I say it? The education is just not there.
Mm-hmm.
They're low educated, for one.
Mm-hmm.
Their whole situational judgment program is geared towards escalations instead of de-escalation, which they say it is.
Mm-hmm.
And they allow these uncontrolled officers to repeatedly behave this way. That's why they act like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't hear the story. I don't know the details or what have you, but I don't expect a whole lot if the person knew it up front.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's just the way they are. And if people don't do anything in their local areas about it, nothing will be done. If you live in Georgia,
Mm-hmm.
it happened in Georgia, don't expect somebody in Florida to fix it.
Yeah, yeah. And they said this happened in Dayton, Ohio.
Right. So
Mm-hmm.
Dayton, Ohio Police Department is who you need to be calling
Mm-hmm.
to get this individual removed from the police force. Not
Mm.
just watching the video.
Yeah.
You got to call and demand that they be fired. You should call and check their accountability and constantly contact this police force and ask them what are they doing in regards to training for dealing with disabled citizens.
Mm-hmm.
You have to badger them over and over to find out what are they doing to prevent this from happening.
Mm-hmm.
You got to remember,
Exactly.
these things happen all over America, not just
Mm-hmm.
in the South.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
So these police officers are out of control because a lot of them are low educated and given way too much authority over citizens.
Come on.
But if you don't do anything to change how your police force behaves, what do you expect?
Mm-hmm.
Dayton, Ohio is off the chain. Just like they would say a lot of cities. Look how much this whole new task force or whatever they calling it in the city of Atlanta,
Mm-hmm.
reminiscent of the previous Red Dog units, who
Yeah.
believe that they don't have to respect people's rights or they can trample over the rights of African Americans
Mm-hmm.
because they don't do it to white people in
Come on.
these particular areas.
Tell the truth.
So
Mm-hmm.
when you hear something about escalations and crime and how terrible it is and a need for certain types of behavior like this,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
it's racial profiling for one. If you
Mm-hmm.
said like even if the guy was white and they supposedly, because I don't believe anything the news says.
Yeah.
So if they knew he was a paraplegic, that makes it even worse for that police force. And some lawyer ought to rush to
Yes, sir.
defend this
Yes,
man
sir.
civilly in
Absolutely.
civic court and sue them for millions of dollars
Mm-hmm.
for their behavior. The
Mm-hmm.
citizens of Dayton should be going to their city council meetings demanding
Mm-hmm.
that the police chief, or I don't know if it was from the sheriff's office or the city police, if they can't control their officers, they need to resign.
Yeah. Yeah.
The mayor chooses the police chief. The
Mm-hmm.
sheriff is usually elected.
Mm-hmm.
So you never know. If we get the case, we work with the family and the person on the case.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very much, based on what that person wants
Yeah.
and what
Mm-hmm.
that community wants. Because it's hard to help anyone if they can't mobilize in their communities.
Mm-hmm. And see, my thing is, and I know we got Brother Pete on the line as well. I'm gonna play this clip because I just pulled it up. I'm gonna play it real quickly, and so everybody could hear, and the people that's actually watching, you'll be able to see it as well. But I want to play it and let you and give you an opportunity to hear exactly what happened, and from that, we'll continue the conversation. But before I do that, good Brother Pete, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
How we doing this morning, DKM Radio listening audience panel?
Hey, doing
Morning Glow.
Hey, sir. Yes, sir. Doing good. I'm going to play this clip, and I want to hear your heart on this clip, brother. I know you've probably seen it already. The paraplegic that the police officer pulled out the car.
Sir.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me get it queued up here. We're gonna go ahead and play this real quickly. Make this right here like that, and let me see. All right, got it ready. Here we go. Turn my volume up. Ain't no good. You can't hear it.
I'm a paraplegic, sir. Come on, bro. I cannot step out of the car. I cannot step out of the car. You got in the car. You can get out of the car. You got in the car. Hey, bro. Can you come down the street to Ferguson and Grand? The police just pulled me over and they trying to make me get out of the car. And I'm telling them I'm a paraplegic. I can't get out the car without no help. These motherfuckers trying to. They on some bull. Just come down the street, bring some people with cameras. Come down the street, come bring cameras and bring somebody so they can witness what's going on. I'm not getting out. I just told you I'm a paraplegic. I cannot get out. I do not have to. Can you call your white shirt, please? If you pull me out of here, you better expect me.
I'm gonna pull you out. You know I'll call white shirt because you're getting out of the car. That's not an option. You're getting out of this car, so you can cooperate and get out of the car. I'll drag you out of the car. Do you see your two options here? Now, which would you like to do, sir?
I would like you to call your white shirt.
I will. Come
on, bro.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
I don't paraplegic, bro. You can hurt me. You can hurt me, bro.
Get out of the car. Get out of the car.
What are y'all doing, bro?
You're making trouble.
Wow. Brother Pete, what did you hear there, brother?
unprofessionalism, inhumanity, inconsideration, intolerance, confusion, and the lack of understanding, massive. A lot of these things are just unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
Once the man told you he was a paraplegic, there's no need to get loud, to escalate, none of that. You can watch his hands, watch his movement. Generally, people who are paraplegics, and they've been like that for a while, you can generally look at them and
Mm-hmm.
kind of vastly grasp their legs tend to look weak
Yeah. Yeah.
right off the top. And
Mm-hmm.
if he's a paraplegic, then has anyone thought about how is he driving? He has to have some form of mechanism
Yeah.
that he's using his hands to drive,
Mm-hmm.
to accelerate and stop. So they should have been able to look in the car and see that.
Mm-hmm.
And right away articulate, okay, this man is, falling in the disabled, special category. So, we got to deal with this differently.
Mm-hmm.
To just, you gonna get out the car. Now, we may interpret what he's saying as being somewhat defiant. I interpreted the young man to say, I'm not getting out the car, meaning
I can't.
can't get out the car.
I can't. I can't. Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
I can pull myself out and fall out on the road. But I
Mhm.
mean, once I get outside the body, the boundaries of the vehicle, what do I have? I got to fall out on my hands
Mm-hmm.
and walk out on my hands and drag my legs.
Mm-hmm.
My legs are not cooperating, so they're just going to follow like a trailer being pulled behind a truck.
Exactly.
So what is this is unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
That whole situation just seemed to me to be extremely unnecessary. And like Leonard said, man, sue them into non-existence.
Mm-hmm.
Because you could have further injured that young man. You did twist his body.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
His body was twisted.
Mm-hmm.
You could have caused that young man some further harm with your unprofessionalism, with your inhumanity, with your inconsideration.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to search the car for what? To find drugs? Come on, man, that's another way.
Exactly. There's
You
so
could
many
have
different
calmly
ways.
called an ambulance.
Mm-hmm.
You could have called, if you lived around the corner, you could have seen some of the people around the house or something, could have came over to assist him, And then you want to search the car, you so determined, okay, search the car. But it's a proper way
Mm-hmm.
to do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's always brute force-ish way. It's not always the way. Now, I always like to reverse it. So what would we say if his family members rolled up and jumped out with assault weapons
Mm-hmm.
and pointed them at the officer and made them get on the ground and say, you better not move, we're going to kill y'all.
Mm-hmm.
You threatening my brother, my uncle, my daddy, my son. You threatening his life by treating him like this. He's already, infirmed.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all take one move other than putting your hands up and getting on the ground. We executing y'all right now. I think it would be a totally different conversation. Oh my God, this is terrible. This is a terrorist action. Well, listen, if you don't want to be treated like that yourself, then there's no justification for you to ever treat somebody like you don't want to be treated when it's not necessary.
Exactly.
And also,
not rocket science. 8-year-olds can articulate this.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The president of the NAACP Dayton chapter has already done a press conference, and to support the young man. Owensby is his name. He was arrested. He was charged only with resisting arrest.
Was he resisting arrest though? Leonard, was he really resisting?
Well, you have to realize that there's going to be. Well, first of all, his civil rights were violated. That is his only recourse. Is that his civil rights were violated because, first of all, I don't believe they read him his rights.
No.
That's one. Supposedly, he was observed leaving a known drug house. So you can expect for the police department's defense to be that he was able to get out of the car.
Mm-hmm.
He just refused to get out of the car.
But wouldn't he, if he's a paraplegic and he have to move around with the assistance of a wheelchair, he would have to obtain that wheelchair, or unless he do like Pete said, just fall onto the ground.
Well, it's up to the judge, and he needs to be in front of 12 people to decide that.
Mm.
He don't live in that car,
Mm-hmm.
but they should have proper protocol for dealing with handicapped individuals. And I'm sure that wasn't it.
No.
They
No.
racially profiled him, is what they're saying, which
Mhm.
leaves a lot to be desired, for one, because they're going to use the fact that it was somehow related to some type of drug bust that they were doing or what have you.
Mhm.
So you have to continue to follow, and definitely a lawsuit is going to be filed for a violation of a young man's civil rights.
Well, let me ask you this, Leonard. Truth of the matter, and dealing with both sides of the coin, if he came from a drug house and they suspected he came from a drug house, they were justified in stopping that vehicle.
Oh, they were definitely justified in stopping the vehicle,
Mm-hmm.
but not violating his civil rights.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
He wasn't charged with any drugs or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
He was only charged, I'm assuming from the story, with resisting arrest.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what criminally has to be proven, is that he was resisting arrest.
And could that be and could that be proven by him not getting out the vehicle?
I'm not sure.
Mm. Okay.
You have to
Okay.
wait till it goes to court and he get in front of 12 people. Hopefully he gets in front of 12 people who are compassionate enough to understand that, one, a different protocol should be in place for dealing with handicapped people.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know the nature of his disability or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. But should it have, and we got another caller, we're going to go to that call as well. Should it have been taken into account when he kept continuously telling, because he said it 4 or 5 times, he's a paraplegic. Should that have been taken into account?
That should have automatically triggered a call for assistance. Or if, you should ask the police, do y'all do any training at all dealing with handicapped individuals? Any, because you would be surprised. I can guarantee you no commander or no police chief has walked out and told their police department or their officers to treat people with respect. That's why those officers behave like that. Because they're supported in that type of behavior. So you definitely got to call the Dayton Police Department if you think this guy should be fired. And you have to put pressure on the Dayton Police Department to fire him. That guy maybe has the officer, may have a history or what have you. Because I can guarantee you this new task unit that they got in the city of Atlanta participate in the same level of behavior. Racial profiling. That's the problem. And thinking that they can treat African Americans any type of way. Because that's what they believe.
Yeah.
Now, the way they did that, I believe the man's son was in the back seat.
Yes, I remember that.
As well. And there was a different protocol, I'm sure, for handling that. They could have assisted him with getting out the car, but you never know. These people may be so slow at this police department. That's not even an issue for them. They just do whatever they want to do.
How they want to do it.
You file the civil suit, and this is the thing about the civil suit. Then he goes on, you file a civil suit, you should win the civil suit, but does that change the behavior of the police department?
Not at all.
Is there a new protocol in place because of this happened if you didn't have one before? What type of reprimand did this officer get? Probably zero.
Yeah, from what I understand right now, he's still operating as usual, basically. Operating as usual. Let me go. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Rico, calling from Madison, Alabama. Grand Rising, everybody.
Rico, good morning. How you doing this morning?
And if you don't have
I'm
that
out here.
number,
Mhm.
I'm gonna put it in your chat.
Okay, that's cool. Rico, I know you probably heard about it, man. There's the paraplegic in Dayton, Ohio, that was stopped by the police officer. He kept telling him he's a paraplegic, and I just played the clip, and he kept telling him over and over he's a paraplegic, insisting him to get out the car. And because of the fact that he didn't, they pulled him out the car and put him on the ground.
Yep, I saw it.
Yeah.
And I realized too it was a black cop too.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes these black cops are brainwashed by that blue line.
Mm-hmm.
They really think they upholding law. They, you know how you have some soldiers that's real gung ho and they really believe in serving the country and standing up for America and saluting out for a flag and not dishonoring our president.
Mm-hmm.
You got some cops like that too.
Yeah.
And when they see racist incidents, they try not to look at it as racist, but at the same time, they have to look at these descriptions and these stereotypes as criminals.
Mm-hmm.
So they begin to look at certain black people and the way they dress as criminals too, instead of just stereotype black people. Because they don't drink the Kool-Aid. A lot of us don't drink the Kool-Aid.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but I looked at that video, and initially, I did like everybody else. I was in the uproar. Hold on, that's a disgrace. He's paraplegic.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought about it. Now, the cop was a little aggressive. He wasn't trying to hear nothing. A little bit. The more that I found out about it, I heard that this dude been selling dope the whole time he'd been a paraplegic.
Mm-hmm.
That didn't stop none of that. I know paraplegics that still got children because it's still a certain part of that body, that bottom part of that body work. And they still had kids, even though they were paraplegic and women wanted them.
Mm-hmm.
And then I know paraplegics that don't shot people in their face because them hands and them arms still work. So when you put all that in and realize that this man probably had a record. I ain't saying he did have a record, but from the way it looks, it's like they have a history with this man, whether he's been paraplegic or not. And it ain't stopped nothing that he's been doing. So, you know, sometimes people can use their disabilities as a way for people to have some sympathy for them.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I ain't saying that's what this man is doing, but before we go on for an hour and a half and then turn into the whole, you know what I'm saying? Because we know what the situation is with black people and cops. But before we get into that situation, sometimes we might be in the wrong, or the person that the video is about might be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they did snatch him out the car. That looked real bad. They snatch people out the car all the time. His legs don't work. That's terrible. But I think they because this is the way the police is going to look at it. They're going to use that history. They're going to use the fact that they just suspected him of making a drug transaction or whatever, just like they use it as excuse any other time. Mm-hmm. And the jury going to look at it, and they're going to look at all the other stuff he probably did in the past while he was paraplegic. And they're going to say, man, you was just out there crying wolf. The whole time you was on that ground, they wasn't beating you up. They weren't doing this and that to you. They just snatched you out the car, and your little legs was dangling. We might pay you a little bit of money because that was inconsiderate. But we got proof that you were selling dope. That was the reason why we just pulled you over. Now, what we supposed to do, because you paraplegic, just let you go on about today. Well, okay, sir, we sorry. Just go ahead and get your wheelchair, and we'll catch you the next time when you got the chair in your car. So, you know, it's going to be a lot of stuff people going to look at, man. You know, I was in the uproar at first when I saw it. I was pissed. But then I thought about it. You know what I'm saying? I was trying to think on Training Day. You remember, you know, and I hate to refer to movies because Snoop Dogg wasn't really paralyzed. Mm-hmm. But in Training Day, Snoop Dogg was a gangster.
Yeah.
And Boys in the Hood, you had paraplegics that was a gangster. Mm-hmm. I know paraplegic gangsters in my hometown. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. They just as rough and off the wall as they were before they got paralyzed. And what they probably got paralyzed for was because they was off the wall. Mm-hmm. So, you know, we could dig into this and go on and get in the uproar and associate it with all the other instances where cops have done people wrong. But this might be one of the situations where we might have to sit back and wait a little bit longer and get over our initial emotions from what our eyeballs saw. Because what we saw looked bad.
Oh yeah,
So when
yeah.
you
Look very bad.
imagine if that guy would have pulled a gun out and shot that cop in the face,
Mm-hmm.
then we'd have been like, oh man, he's stupid. He thought just because the man was a paraplegic, he couldn't shoot him.
Mm-hmm. But see, there's so
So
many
you know,
there's so many different layers on this whole situation right here, man. There's so many different layers on this thing, but and I get initially I'm confession. I'm just like you. When you say you first looked at it, when I first saw it, man, I was upset because of the fact that first, there's a way to do everything. There's a way to do it, and
right.
even if like with George Floyd, they try to say he was a drug dealer or whatever. They had a history situation with him. That has nothing to do with you putting your knee on back of this man's neck. How are you as an officer going to interact? Not react, but interact with the individual that you're stopping. And so
and see that's where the problem come in there.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't put their knee on this man's neck.
Mm-hmm.
And this man might have actually been guilty. So we have to wait before we get too deep into it, because this might not be nothing close to related to a George Floyd incident.
Oh no,
he might have just got snatched out his car because he was using him being quadriplegic as a reason to not get out the car.
Yeah, but see the thing,
but he was still dirty and caught doing something wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I can agree with that. But the reason why I put that out there, not because I was trying to associate those two or tie those two together. I was just saying that a police officer should, and especially when the man kept saying I'm a paraplegic, there should have been certain protocols I think that should have happened at that time. Now, if you're gonna arrest him for what he did, arrest him for what he did. If he's wrong, arrest him, take him to jail. But my thing is,
I asked myself this question too.
Mm-hmm.
Had he kept sitting there the whole time saying, I ain't getting out, I'm quadriplegic, I can't get it, what they were supposed to do?
No,
pick him up like a baby and throw him out the car?
No, I think he should have.
I
think he should have, and I don't mean to cut you off, Rico. I think that he should have called his supervisor or something like that. And what are the steps that we do in a situation like this? Because I'm sure they got they should have some kind of protocol in order.
This also, you have to realize.
Like you were thinking. I thought exactly like you was thinking, and I was like, well, what could they have done? Because if I put myself in the cop shoes,
mm-hmm.
he's not trying to cooperate.
Mm-hmm.
So now I know I have to physically remove him. And if I physically remove him and he's using these strong arms, because them jokers have some strong arms after they go through what they done went through.
Mm-hmm.
He's using these strong arms to lock onto the steering wheel and to the gearbox and all this stuff to keep him coming out the car. I'm a paraplegic. But see, you making me have to pull harder. Because you got to go to jail, boy. You got a kilo in your trunk. You just stole a quarter key.
Yeah.
We got you.
Mm-hmm.
You got to go to jail now with your legs dangling.
Mm-hmm.
You get what I'm saying? So what was he going to do? Call the supervisor? Well, hey, y'all, we're going to still nicely take him out. Well, he ain't cooperating.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
He's not cooperating. So when you think about it, what all options would he have? They still going to have to snatch him out the car.
Mm-hmm.
And also, you have to think about it. I'm more of a policy person when it comes to these types of issues. Is there a policy in place? Now, you can't use racial profiling, really, which I know is what they're going to try and use.
Mm-hmm.
But supposedly, this man was observed leaving a known drug house and was stopped because he was leaving the drug house.
Mm-hmm.
No drugs were found in the vehicle. However, there was over $22,000 in cash.
Good Lord. Maybe Leonard, he just made a drop. Maybe he just made that drop.
Like I said, that's neither, whatever they bring up, you have to watch it. However, the violation of his civil rights is different.
Mm-hmm.
Civil rights apply to anyone, everyone. So if they were supposed to read him his rights when they arrested him, then that's what they should have done.
Read the Miranda.
Now, when you say you hear I'm a paraplegic.
Mm-hmm.
But as Rico was telling you, you don't live in that car. You get in and out that car. What if I just saw you get out that car and go in that drug house?
Mm-hmm.
I know you can get out the car.
What if their car was in an accident and about to catch on fire? You gonna sit there and burn, or you gonna get out the car?
Right. So and when you asked me about it, I hadn't seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't really look for it, and unless I get a case of some type,
mm-hmm.
I usually, don't get involved because it could be a case that we get.
Mm-hmm.
But that one looks more like a violation of civil rights and not inhuman. See, you may look at it and hear paraplegic and think, oh, that's just so inhumane. It don't matter. What's the policy?
Mm-hmm.
What is the policy?
Mm-hmm.
Do they even have one?
And that was my question. That's why I say call the supervisor, because there should be something lined up. We got another caller. Hold on for a minute. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Because if you excuse me, you heard the man say call your white shirt.
Yes, exactly.
You know what's going on. He's been arrested before.
Yeah, he been through that program. Yeah. He definitely been through that. Kurt, good morning, Kurt. How you doing this morning?
Yeah, what up, man? What's going on?
What's going on with you, man? We talking about. I don't know if you saw it or not. We're talking about the situation with the paraplegic man, the guy that was pulled out the car by the police officer. What do you think about that?
Can you hear me, Ryan?
Yeah, I hear you now.
You know what, man? I don't know what to think. I do know, if I was the cop, I'm just going to tell you truthfully. Sometimes police got to think outside. You can't keep thinking just because you got a badge and a gun that people just going to automatically listen to you, man. So, and you got to think like, okay, what am I going to do in this situation to not only, the problem is police departments are not taught any kind of de-escalation strategies, period. They're not taught none, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the police had to do, bro, for real, all the police had to do was go back to his car. If you want to say you're going to detain this guy, sir, could you please take you're a paraplegic? Could you please take the keys out of the car, sir? Turn the car off. No, I'm not. We're not going through putting you in cuffs or taking you out. But could you please turn the car off, sir? Right? Mm-hmm. His partner, whoever his partner was, could have worked the passenger side right up at the wheel so that he could see everything that's going on in the car. Walk back to the car. Get on the doggone walkie-talkie, man, and request EMT services. That's all he had to do. Request EMT services who are certified and used to dealing with just that kind of situation where they got to move somebody who is paraplegic, this, that, and the third.
Hey, Kurt, your volume is a little bit low, Kurt. You talking directly in the phone? I want to make sure the people on media should be able to hear you.
I'm on my car. I'm on my car speakers.
Okay.
Once the EMT arrive, right?
Mm-hmm.
Once the EMT arrive, then the EMT get the guy out the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
They put him on a gurney. You hold him right there on the gurney. Then y'all search the car. Whatever y'all find, that's what y'all find. You're gonna lock him up, lock the man up. Had the EMT take him straight to central booking, right?
Mm-hmm.
$22,000. As crazy as this may sound, I didn't know it was against the law. If it's against the law, then they need to start locking up every rapper that is doing these videos where they got millions of dollars. They need to lock Floyd Mayweather up because Floyd Mayweather traveled with at least 40 million. I'm just, listen, I understand, that people are dangerous. Irregardless, people are dangerous. But these police departments, honestly, need to seriously consider how they're policing. There's something that is going unheard in the police department. Somebody ain't listening to something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, man. Look, I don't mean no harm, but I'm just saying something is being missing. And I mean, if I just go off of what I know, man, a lot of these guys, man, they raiders, man. They terrorizing these communities.
Mm-hmm.
For all we know, he might have got a settlement, and went and bought him some drugs to get high. For all we know, I don't know, man.
Toussaint, what's on your heart, brother?
I see a lot of sides of the coin. Lord have mercy. The cop is a butthole. He's one of these guys that, and it's just me. I don't know him.
Hey, Tucson, you talking directly to the phone? It's a little bit low, brother. You talking into the phone?
Probably. Oh, well, yeah. No, I'm not. I got a raggedy earpiece, but I'll talk to the phone.
There you go.
I see both plenty sides of the coin.
Mm-hmm.
This guy probably got a family. The cop, I'm talking about the police officer.
Mm-hmm.
The police officer. He probably got, he probably had a life other than police officer. But he was, to me, just by listening, because he has experience with this particular guy, he gonna show him today. This is not gonna be your day, buddy. This is not. I'm not gonna tolerate you today. Okay. So now here's the guy. Here's the guy that's in the wheelchair or in the car. I can't pronounce the name, so I'm not going to try. Handicap guy. Look here, dude. One thing that we have a problem with is when we're caught in an act, we want to act up for the video. We want to be the movie star. This is not going to be your day, buddy. Let me tell you what I had. I had a friend. He was kind of handicapped in a way, and he got arrested. And in the process of him getting arrested, they put the dogs on him. This guy sued the city. I think he must have got $100,000 or something. Whatever he got, he bought that much weed
Good Lord.
to sell. They locked him up again. He's handicapped now. Well, in a way, he was just short, midget, not midget, but he sure could play some basketball. Anyway. But I never could block his shot. I was wave, and he'd be so short. Anyway. But
Hey, Leonard, did Tucson get sidetracked a little bit there for a second?
Yeah, I had a flashback. But look, here's the dude. Now he's been arrested.
Oh.
He won they put the dogs on him. He won the case. He buys with the money that he won the case with weed or drugs to go back on the street and sell and deal again.
Yeah.
They arrested him again. Now he's in the county jail or city jail, and he's a trustee. So trustees get an opportunity to go outside, wash the police cars and stuff like that. This guy sees one of his friends down the street, because you're in the public, eye, and you're around. He's supposed to be arrested, inmate. He sees one of his homeboys down the street, and he decides to stop washing the car and go walk down there. Limp down there. So what am I saying?
Escape
when
charge.
You quit, man. When are you gonna get it right? You just come from, so there's so many different sides of the table. Sure, the guy, the police officer, was a butthole, but probably he's a butthole, and you finna show him today. Well, guess what? It's not gonna be your day.
Exactly, brother Pete. Talk to me, brother.
I'm just saying.
Look, you can block this shot, huh?
Sure could.
Brother Pete, what's on your heart, brother?
Boy, I don't want to cut off Pete, but man, the only thing I can think of when Donna was telling me that was a short can't get right.
That's what exactly. Yep. That's exactly what it was. No, Donna said I couldn't block his shot for nothing. Maybe it was just so short, I just couldn't block it. Go ahead, Pete.
Well, you know, we getting possibly some more information with this particular situation and potentially various scenarios.
Mm-hmm.
I simply say it's the right way to do things.
Yeah.
And if the young man is impaired, then I would think that we would add a little extra care because he is impaired. You don't have to necessarily put kitty gloves on him,
Mm-hmm.
but I wouldn't advise snatching him out the car aggressively at all if he's already impaired. I wouldn't encourage none of my personnel to put themselves or our corporate structure in a position to take on greater liability unnecessarily.
Mm-hmm.
Like my dear brother said, I would have immediately called for professionals, EMTs more than likely, fire department, and asked them to assist us in taking him out of the vehicle if it was absolutely necessary to take him out of the vehicle.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Again,
Hey, Pete, let me ask you this
when
question.
we looked at
Hey, Pete, let me ask you this question, brother. And don't mean to cut y'all, but to Rico's point, could he still, regardless of him being paraplegic, could he still be dangerous? Could he still be a threat though? Could he pose a threat even as a paraplegic?
I mean, anybody that can move, that can grasp or touch anything, and from a particular vantage point, can pose or seemingly pose a threat.
Mm-hmm.
But this posing a threat thing is overrated and exaggerated way too much too. Police are trained to touch their weapon, pull point, and squeeze the trigger in 3 seconds or less. And they drilled on that across the board.
Mm-hmm.
3 seconds. Touch it, pull it, point it, discharge it on the count of 3, and that's seconds or less. Okay? So you got to be really practiced up to beat the average law enforcement official on the draw.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to let you have it more than likely because they're repetitious with that. Okay? But it's just a proper way to do things. This narrative leads to so many other existing things. And, it's a vast, so I'm not going to go crazy with it 60 seconds. But it really encourages us and states the demand that we really comprehend and articulate our legal system and what we call law, and how law is executed and where law comes from. What really is the law? What are the real laws of this society? We do, and what is our position? Our true positioning in this society. It denotes to all of that because we have these reoccurring, always occurring, reoccurring. I mean, as far back as I can remember, it was an issue with a certain group of people in this country and law enforcement or authority or rules and laws. It's just been consistent. So, you're not signing off on any untoward criminal behavior. And at the same time, too oftentimes, those that you think are enforcing the law are breaking it just as much, if not more so, than the folks you see on the main street. So it's when we have a stealing culture in our society, that's a problem. When we have a predatory mindset of governance, that's a problem. And all of this is what's coming from that. It's denoting to greater problems. All of these little issues that we keep seeing. We just had a young man in Griffin, Spalding County, pulled over for I don't know what. But on the video, the officer ordered him out the car and want to put handcuffs on him. The boy put his hands behind his back. He getting irate. What I get out of the car for? What are you pulling me over for? You didn't even explain it. He gets to the back. He still got his hands behind his back. Don't turn around. He put a handcuff on him. He stepped back from him, and then he started tasing. It's like, man, what's going on? What even happened? It's a mindset. It's a mind. We just had an officer in Georgia shot and killed too.
Yeah.
First day on the job. 26 years old, I think it was, and I believe he was shot and killed outside the police station. Okay, see, this is what I'm saying.
Yeah. There's two sides.
If we can't get a grip on the way we govern and the way we conduct ourselves, how we treat one another, And yes, you have to abide by the law, and the law itself has to abide by its own form of what they call law. Listen, this thing is going to spiral into mad chaos continuously.
Yeah.
There's a right way to do things. There's just you can't expect me when I encounter the officer to be Mr. Sir, yes sir, I am, sir, drop down, do 25 push-ups, yes sir, and then you treating me like I'm nothing.
Yeah.
And you talking to me like it don't work like that. See, the law, I'm gonna say this and I'm done. The law and the Bible.
Okay, I think we might have lost Pete there for a second. I think we might have lost him. But Leonard, what's on your heart, man? He's talking about I think people's talking about the standards. The standards. What do you say to that?
Right. It's just like I was mentioning before about those standards. There's a way to do everything.
Mm-hmm.
And if you expect officers to comply, they have to be led as such.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So above and beyond this particular incident, what is the protocol? What is the protocol? Because
Yeah.
we don't know. We don't know what the protocol is. I don't think that police agency has responded as of yet publicly. But remember, the guy was only charged with resisting arrest,
Mm-hmm.
nothing else. So
Mhm.
his reason for resisting could have been because he wasn't approached properly. He could use fear as a reason for why he didn't. But like I said, in certain cases, you heard paraplegic, which made you think disabled, which also further probably made you think he wasn't a threat.
Mm-hmm.
He could have drove off.
Yeah.
It could have been a wild chase, which wound up another way. So, above and beyond this particular case, you have to look at the different specifics. I would advise people not to just jump to conclusions, get all upset in their feelings. It ain't about
Mm-hmm.
your feelings.
Mm-hmm.
It's about how should that have been handled, and is it being handled that way consistently?
And it's not. And
Like
it's not.
you said, if they wanted to rip that door off, they could have.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Now, he's saying he can't get out the car. Do he live in that car? How did he get in that car?
Mm-hmm.
He knows how he gets in and out of the car.
Yeah.
You didn't at once hear him say, let me get my crutches or a wheelchair or anything of that nature. Is it the responsibility of the officer to ask, or for the person to explain how they have to get out?
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good.
So there's a lot of things that play with that. I'm sure if there is a civil rights violation, it'll be addressed appropriately. But we have to look at how we want police officers to engage the public and make sure that they're consistent in doing that. Police agencies have very poor leadership.
Mm-hmm.
You give a fool a gun and a badge, and they'll go out here and terrorize an entire neighborhood.
Yes, sir.
They'll never be reprimanded for it, and they'll think it's okay because guess what? They getting promotions, they getting bonuses, and they just doing their job as they see fit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Now, Rico, do you think a lot of this is tied up into a lot of this whole thing because of everything that's been going on? Are people just emotional with this situation? Are they really looking at the facts? They're looking at everything that we've covered this morning.
People are always emotional, man. I mean, that's what it boils down to. People take the initial sight of what they're looking at, and then they run with it. You know what I'm saying? Because it look bad. And you hear the cop being all belligerent and aggressive, uncooperative. He ain't trying to hear nothing either. He's just screaming at the top of his lungs, get out the car. I'm thinking to myself, how he gonna get out and he paralyzed? He paraplegic. He can't get out.
Yeah, exactly.
What he gonna do? He gonna crawl out on the ground? What you gonna?
Mm-hmm.
So you know, I mean, now what Curtis said about bringing the EMT, I don't think that would have happened because, like I said, it could have been a dangerous situation and it wasn't an emergency. And I don't think they would take EMTs away from potential emergencies that they may have to go to, an emergency that might get postponed because they're shorthanded because they're dealing with this man. Then on top of that, this man actually could have got the EMTs could have got there, and once they got him out the car and helped him, put him on the gurney and search the car, whatever, he could have shot one of the EMTs in the face.
Mm-hmm. Put them in harm's way.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, so that would have been a dangerous situation to get them involved in. You know, I think in most situations when you see stuff like that going on, you see rescue squads sitting around the corner, waiting till everything has died down because they don't want to put them in harm's way. But in the heat of the moment, man, you know, it's hard to really comprehend what you want to do. You know, sometimes you have to take a breath and say, okay, man, you know what? This can escalate. It can get bad. Let me think of the best way to handle this. And the minute you think that is the minute you start thinking that way. And the guy that's the paraplegic, knowing that they probably was following him, maybe they had a reason to pull him over. Maybe they didn't. He don't know. Because if he's innocent, he's got to be thinking to himself, man, wait a minute, this cop real aggressive, man. If I ain't careful, he might shoot my black face. Let me find a way to calm this down a little bit. Sir, you're telling me to get out of the car. I am paraplegic. I can't get out of the car. But what you can do, if you want to search me, calm down and help me out. You ain't got to take me out aggressively. You could take it. I ain't got no problem with you taking me out. I'm just letting you know that I can't get out. 1 + 1 = 2. My legs don't work. But like Leonard said, I said it earlier. He kept saying, I ain't got my wheelchair with me. My wheelchair at the house, man. Why are you getting the car, fool? So both of them didn't use common sense. Neither one of them used common sense. He was trying to make the cop. He was using his disability as an excuse to play with the cops' intelligence, and the cop wasn't using any intelligence because the man was telling him he was paraplegic. He's still telling him, get out the car, get out the car. So I mean, it was like two people in the heat of the moment not thinking. But you know, before people get too caught up in it, like I said, man, Pete said it a second ago, it ain't just one cop in Georgia been killed. I think it's been 5 killed in Georgia this year. One got killed in Florida yesterday too.
Wow.
Gone in the line of duty. We don't know if they was in the wrong or right, because sometimes, you know what I'm saying, these cops don't be undid nothing wrong and they get killed. I've seen that happen before. So we have to just wait till the information come out, because if this guy was doing something illegal, you know, it would look sort of bad on us just to say, well, hey, he was a paraplegic. Like I said, once he got him on the ground, it still looked bad because his little legs was dangling there. But nobody threw a punch. Nobody put a knee to his head. And I've been seeing videos this past week of people getting their butt beat, kicked all in the face, 4 or 5 people on top of him. They just dragged him out on the ground. And had he not been paraplegic, we wouldn't have looked at it as being such bad treatment, the way they handled him. But it's that key word is paraplegic. So I looked online just a second ago to see how many people were convicted after becoming paraplegic. There's a guy in China, got 14.5 years, was working at a transportation company, had an accident at 23, got paraplegic severely, opened up a dance hall, and then became a gang member and started racketeering, loan sharking, and doing illegal casinos. Criminal activity. Same thing what Donald was talking about. Took that money that he made and invested it into the illegal world, and still had that disability that he was probably going to get paid for that disability. But he still had a lifestyle that he didn't want to let go. He still wanted to play cop and robber games. So, I mean, you know, what are you supposed to do? You know, we speak about protocol. What are you supposed to do when these people still carry on regularly? What are you supposed to do when a paraplegic pulls a gun out and shoot a cop in the face?
Wow. See, and that's why right there, you know, I say, even with helping the man out, helping him out the car, that police officer, if he don't have the proper backup, is putting himself in harm's way, because this man could reach for his gun or something like that, reach for the police officer's gun. And now you're at his disposal. If he get a hold of your gun, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're in a situation now.
Imagine picking him up all nicely and kindly, trying to help him out the car and scooping them little legs, and then all of a sudden, man, he slipped and grabbed that man gun.
Exactly. And so when you're in that close quarters like that, he have full access to the man gun just as well as he do. We got another caller. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
This is Cassandra calling from Atlanta.
Cassandra, good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning.
Cassandra, you saw this situation in Dayton, Ohio, where the man was a paraplegic and the police officer pulled him over and jerked him out the car, trying to make the man get out the car, but he said he couldn't. And then because of the fact that he didn't, the police officer jerked him out the car and put him on and threw him to the ground, laid him on the ground, however he did it. Have you seen that?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Well, what do you think about the situation? I played a little bit ago, played the video. But yeah, he was telling them the police officers fairly out of control. He was a little belligerent. He get out the car, get out the car, get out. The man said, look, I can't get out. He said he's a paraplegic. He can't get out. And the conversation got a little heated between the two of them. The man got on the phone, called his boys, and he called his crew, told them, look here, come down here with the cameras and stuff. He didn't say come down here with no weapons. He said come down here with the cameras and video this thing because this man trying to get me to get out the car and I can't. But the police officer grabbed him, like I said, and took him to the ground. Was that police officer out of control, or what should have happened in a situation like that, Cassandra?
No, I mean, how does he know he's really paraplegic? I mean, people lie all the time. I mean, I don't ever want them to mishandle people. And Rico, you are bad because I started laughing when you said he tried to scoop him up. What is little leg?
I heard that too.
I don't want nobody to think I'm being funny. Look, I don't want nobody to think I'm being funny. I knew that was going to come up with me being funny.
You said it. You said what?
I know. Let me do a disclaimer before you get there. I'm going to do a disclaimer. I knew everybody was going to think I was being funny. The only reason I can't put the emphasis on that because that's what people going to realize. Mm-hmm. They're going to put more and more stuff for him. The more they see his legs just sitting there, not being able to move, and he on the ground like, man, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So that's what's going to make our emotions turn that way. Yeah. So the reason why I kept bringing that up, because I want people to realize, okay, this is what you're looking at. You're looking at the fact that he can't move them legs, and he going through this, but you ain't thinking about the fact that he ain't being beaten up. Mm-hmm. He ain't being kicked and hit on, So I mean, I did that. I knew it was gonna come off the front. I don't want to be sounding funny, but
it really did. I was over here cracking. I was like, see, I'm going to hell. Rico gonna be right behind me because we laughing. I mean, it was funny though.
What did Rico say? What did he say? Just say it again. We didn't hear you. What did Rico say?
He said, yeah, when the police scooped him up and his little leg
I heard Rico. He said about I wasn't gonna touch that, but I knew. Look, I heard him when he said I wasn't gonna touch that right there. I'm gonna leave that right there. I ain't even gonna touch it. Yep.
Okay, but anyway,
I don't, Rico.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Of course, I never want to see anyone mishandled. But how does the officer know that he's telling the truth? That's my thing.
Well, see, they said
how would he know?
Well, they said they had interaction with him before. They said they had interaction with him before, and from some of the stories that I don't know definitely because they happened in Dayton, Ohio. I certainly don't know.
What is he doing with his paraplegic or whatever self? What is he out there doing that they know him? Have an interaction with him. I know some handicap folk. I'm gonna tell you, they will hurt you. I know some rogue ones, real bad ones. So yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Leonard,
I don't know.
Leonard,
hey, I'm not.
Okay.
I'm gonna just wait until you get to the topic supposedly of today because I've been laughing ever since I heard it the first time.
Yeah, I heard.
I wasn't gonna add.
I wasn't gonna say that. Nope.
Because I'm always the bad guy
As a matter of fact, truth of the matter, I heard when Rico said it the first time, little leg thing. He said about 2 or 3 times, little leg thing. And
I wasn't finna mess with that. I wasn't finna mess with that, man.
look here,
Yeah,
I left that out there for Leonard because I said no, I'm not. I said I'm gonna let Leonard handle that one this morning. I'm not gonna say a word. I'm just gonna.
All I can think of is like Rico said, Snoop Dogg said, "Put me in the front seat with it."
Exactly. Had Dollar Bill say in our Players Club, put a smile on my face.
Y'all are so wrong. I can't with y'all today.
Y'all are horrible. I'm over here crying. This is not good. This is not good.
Put a smile on my
Oh,
face.
man.
But let's jump over to the topic for the day. I think we done covered that right there. It's a lot going on, and like everybody said, we really got to sit back and just wait until all the facts come out, because right now people are very emotional, and that's one of the things that we sometimes do get caught up in the emotions of the moment without getting all the facts. So let's see how it plays itself out. But I'm gonna ask this question, and this is our topic for today. Your father. And this I guess this is for the young ladies, but we definitely, gentlemen, we're gonna speak on it. But your father or your husband, who should be your son's blueprint? Your father or your husband, who should be your son's blueprint? Cassandra, what do you say to that?
None. Both of them was horrible. I'm sorry, but it's the truth. So neither one. I'll take neither.
Mm-hmm. Now somebody got to be his blueprint now.
But it ain't gonna be them two.
Lord,
they should not be the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not, listen, whoever they are, if you know that they will not be a good influence on your child,
mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if it's your dad, your husband. If they're not a good influence, you don't want them to be the role model that person is looking at.
Mm-hmm.
You said?
Yeah,
exactly. He should have a male role model, and there may be some great ones out there, but it just don't happen to be my father or my husband, my ex-husband.
Pete, what do you say to that? You there?
I would say the father first, if the father is there.
Mm-hmm.
And the child's father, if the father is there. And then the grandfather, of course, if he's the father's not there, can step in. And if they both there, he can pull from both of them.
Mm-hmm.
So if the child's father is there and he's astute in position, the child's father.
Mm-hmm.
And if not, then certainly the grandfather would be a good viable option if he's suitable.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Now, what happens, and I love that how you ended that, if he's suitable. What if the situation is as Cassandra presented, neither one of them are good role models?
So that's where the community concept comes in, extended family,
mm-hmm.
The neighborhood,
mm-hmm.
those that are closest, and that will be around that child the most.
Mm-hmm.
Step in and just take on the responsibility and the necessity of rearing and raising, teaching, training, instructing, leading, and guiding, so that individual is pointed in the right direction, showed up with knowledge, wisdom, support to be a complete individual when time is appointed for them to stand on their own.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's where that concept would come into play, and that's why that concept has always been so important,
mm-hmm.
and it's still critical today.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's good. Curtis, what do you say to that, brother? Your father or your husband, who should be the son's blueprint?
You know, in a perfect world, it should be both.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like Brad just said, you know, in a perfect world, it should be both.
Mm-hmm.
A son can draw. You know, I had the blessing to be able to
turn right on Delivery
at least meet one of my grandfathers and spend time with him and learn from him and grow.
Mm-hmm.
So, I pulled some lessons from my dad.
Turn left.
And
Mhm.
then, I pulled other lessons from my grandfather. And then, like bro just said about the extended family thing, I grew up with 16 uncles, man. So I pulled a little bit in my lifetime from all of my uncles.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then just men that was in the neighborhood. Sometimes, man, some of the greatest lessons I learned was from dope things.
Mm.
You know what I mean? Some of the greatest lessons I learned about life came from dope things.
Mhm.
Real talk.
Yeah.
And I think about it every day that some of these guys was actually in my life, bro. Because had they not been in my life, man, like man, oh god, like
Mhm.
you know what I mean? I would have
Mhm.
really been in a bad way, man. Like so I'm gonna go with the brother. Like it really should be both. It
Mhm.
really should be both. It's a powerful lesson when you look at a child and a child is getting lessons from his father, and those very same lessons are being reinforced by his grandfather. There's a certain level of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a certain level of pride
Mhm.
that follows with that child when the lessons of being black in America, the lessons of being a black male in America, the lessons of being a man in America is taught by another man and then reinforced by a man that in your eyes has the potential or possibly could be greater than the other. You know what I mean? Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
man, let me. Here's the easiest way to put it. This is just my belief, and this is no slight to the female listeners and or the women who are raising these boys by themselves. But my question or my statement is this: how powerful would we be as a community, as a race in this country, and as a collective society if more black men could honestly say that they were raised by their father and their grandfather?
Mm. Mm. Leonard?
I had I was very fortunate, and when people say good blueprints or whatever, being a man takes a lot of blueprints.
Yes, sir.
So it's great to have good men around. It's
Mhm.
great to have all types of men around. So you can, and I have several uncles and things like that, and so I really benefited from them. My father died when I was young, but I had so many men in the church, and I had an excellent godfather
Mhm.
who was always there, even when my father was alive. My godparents were there doing what they were supposed to do, and it
Mhm.
was very much a village type situation.
Yes, sir.
So some people stepped in, because of the guidance and things like that with me. And
Mhm.
like Kurt said before, man, you can learn things from the bum on the street,
Mhm.
drug addicts, or
Mhm.
what have you. So it's not so much as somebody gonna teach you how to be perfect. They're gonna teach you how to survive and be a decent person.
Mhm.
You can learn from bad people what not to do. I learned from horrible examples of men in a lot of cases. I know I didn't want to be going in and out of jail. I know I didn't want to have kids I couldn't take care of. I learned all that from examples.
Mhm.
I was out in the street, roaming around, just doing, whatever. There were lots of examples, but not everything is a good example or a bad example. It's just how
Mhm.
you use that information. So ain't
How
no
does one know-
blueprint. Ain't no real blueprint.
and then how does one know how and when to eat the meat and spit out the bone in a situation?
Well, I mean, sometimes it teaches you itself. You may not realize something until after the fact,
Mm-hmm.
and it prepares you for the next situation.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are just, these called knuckleheads. They gotta bump their own head several times first.
Mm-hmm.
Me, if anything, I'll tell people I heed the words of the prophet.
Mm-hmm.
So I conduct myself differently. I've always been like that since I was a child. If I know better, I should do better.
Yes, sir.
And there's no excuse.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't raised with all these excuses
Mm-hmm.
that I hear people use now. Everything is an excuse for the bad choice you made.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do nothing, but you want something. That don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be a surgeon, but you don't want to go to school. You don't want to work for nobody else, but you ain't got no plan to support yourself.
Yeah.
It's just certain things that are just dumb
Mm-hmm.
to me.
Exactly.
And I don't make
Exactly.
no excuses. I ain't sweet about it. I'm not going to hold your hand about it, or you a fool and you made a mistake. Learn from your lesson.
Mm-hmm.
Don't keep doing the same stupid stuff over and over and over. Ain't no magic blueprint to being no man. You do the best you can.
Mm-hmm. You learn as you go.
Every
Learn.
day. Every
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
day you learn something. I'm 50 years old. I still feel like I'm a kid sometimes, a lot of
Mm-hmm.
times. I still, some things I got down pat. But there are other things where I go, like being a father.
Mm-hmm.
That changes every day.
Yes, sir.
Every day.
Mm-hmm.
Ain't no blueprint. Ain't no blueprint for that.
Mm-hmm.
You just do the best that you can and
Yep.
hope that your sons choose the right path. In
Mm-hmm.
the Bible, how it always says, but this person's son chose not to follow the words of the Lord the way
Mm-hmm.
his father did.
Mm-hmm.
And all these things the son did that were so different than the father. But the father was a great example.
Mm-hmm.
The son just chose not to follow that example.
Went the way of the world.
And
Cassandra.
working to the sisters. Women need to make better choices about who they mate with.
Mm-hmm.
That's one way to help this issue. If he ain't no good, why would you lay up there with him and have a baby?
That's
Why?
good.
Why wouldn't you pick the strongest and the best to mate with?
Mm-hmm. Cassandra, what's on your heart?
Well, Leonard made a good point, but sometimes you don't see that side of people until you're in a situation.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, I don't know. I didn't know who my mama was gonna get with. I was nowhere in the picture at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But my father was never there for me. Never. That's why I said I was presuming that you meant from our own personal experience. That's what I was thinking you meant.
Yes.
So from my personal experience, I would not have wanted my father or my ex-husband to be the person that my son looked at. One was an abuser and one was an abandoner. So neither one was a good would have been a good choice for me to have to be a role model for my child. And some you guys made good points. Yes, maybe sometimes the person learns from seeing what that person did, what not to do. Well, my father was never around. There was nothing for my son to learn from him. But then his father was street hood. I was a teenager. I was a kid myself, 15. So, we can say how women should make better choices, but, I didn't know who my mom was going to get with. And then I was a dumb kid doing a gang initiation and got pregnant. That's my story. I can't talk to nobody else.
Exactly. Pete, talk to me, brother.
again, a nice topic, but we have to look at again societal social engineering and the realities and the effects of that now. It exists, it has its effects. It does not allow any room for excuses on our part, though.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the personal, the individual, you already know, responsibility and the collective responsibility stays there. It goes nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
And too often times we are not found individually and collectively responsible. And this is what leads to these situations.
Mm-hmm.
This
Wow.
is just what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, there are impediments to progress and success and survival and advancement and all of that. But it does not allow any room for us to not do all of what we should and are fully capable of doing to have ourselves complete and full and to set up situations, foundational fortitude principles and situations of guaranteed success to the fullness of our ability.
Mm-hmm. That's
And
good.
too often times that's what's lacking. There
Mm-hmm.
should never be a situation where a father and a grandfather, unless they're not there, are not suitable and in position to fulfill the necessities that their roles as grandfather and father are there to fulfill.
Mm-hmm.
Should never be. If you make the child, you're responsible for the child. You
Mm-hmm.
never stop being a father
Yeah.
until
Exactly.
you make your transition and you
Mm-hmm.
still daddy and mommy. It never changes. And
Mm-hmm.
the fact that you haven't fulfilled your responsibilities is just a horrible situation. And it
Mm-hmm.
goes right back to your individual and collective responsibility.
Mm-hmm.
Many of these things that we deal with, many to most, go back to our individual responsibility and us collectively being responsible.
Mm-hmm. And watch this, y'all. I'm going to open up a can of worms real quick. Captain Leonard,
Sir.
what do you say to the young man that come to you? Now he got a baby by this girl and a son. He say, man, she won't let me be no dad, no father to my son, man. And then her daddy's all in the way, man. He the baby daddy and all that stuff. So they won't let me in, man. They won't let me do nothing, man. I go out and been trying for a couple of years, man, to be in my son's life, and they just won't let me, man. What do you say to him?
Well, it depends on his situation. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
had you been married, that wouldn't be an issue.
Mm-hmm.
Now, why you living the way you living is a different story. You may have to go through the court if you have that type of situation. What is it about you that puts you in this position? Because obviously you're a weak individual.
Come on.
I mean, I can't, help you no further than without knowing your situation. If there's an issue where you need to get the white man in your business, then
Mm-hmm.
that's the route you have to go, where you have to get through the courts or what have you. But that's
Mm-hmm.
your child. You do have a right, so you need to assert your rights.
Mm-hmm.
If you're not going to assert your rights, what do you think's supposed to happen?
Mm-hmm.
I've made, help people with certain things or what have you. I'm very direct. What do you
Mm-hmm.
want the outcome to be?
Yeah.
What do you want the outcome to be? What you want to look? What do you want this to look like at the end?
What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
Yeah,
Yep.
what's the point? What you mean they
Mm-hmm.
ain't letting you do this or what? Are you being where you're supposed to be, or you just come around when you feel like it?
Mm.
Why I can't imagine why a grandfather wouldn't want their son's father to be in
Mm.
their life unless there
Exactly.
was another personal issue involved. Because
Mm-hmm.
there are some issues where certain fathers shouldn't be in their kids' lives.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not helpful. It could be dangerous. I know folks you can't trust with their own children. So
Mm.
you have to have supervised visitation even.
Wow.
If when you hear custody battles, what you hear? Character references, poor character. What's wrong with that individual's character that he can't be a father to his child? Is he truly being all that he can be, or just being what he want to be when he feel like it? I don't have no excuses for them either. You know, what do you want it to look like at the end of the day?
Kurt, what do you say to that, man? Somebody standing before you saying that he can't be because she won't let me be a father to my son, and then her daddy's always in the way. The dad's always in the way, man. He always like he my son's daddy or something like that, man. They just won't let me be a father to my son. What do you say to that, Kurt?
Ain't no
Sounds weird
excuse.
to me.
ain't no excuse for not being a father. Ain't no excuse. Ain't no excuse. When you sign, you know, I ain't even gonna forget the marriage part. Forget the marriage part, right? Because a larger percentage of the world, be it if it's right or wrong, that's subject to personal opinion. A larger percentage of the world got kids and they not married. All right. But at the end of the day, when you sign your name on that birth certificate and that birth certificate is certified, that's why I call that birth certificate. You got the same rights she got. And if that means that you got to come out your pocket and go to court, then guess what? You might want to get that extra job so that you can pay them lawyer fees. If there's no excuse for not being a father, man. Yeah. When I lost my family, listen, that didn't stop me from being a father. I was getting on the road driving that total of 1,138 miles once a month, because I knew, like, hey, look, I gotta be a part of my kid's life. So what, man, that mom ain't together no more? But I still gotta be a father. At the end of the day, I might not be a husband no more, but being a father don't stop, man. Yeah. It don't stop. I can get a divorce and for real, and I'm not screaming, I'm just talking loud because I'm talking on the speaker in my car. But I could at any given minute stop. At any given minute, I could stop being a husband. At any given minute, I could stop being a brother. At any given minute, I could stop being an uncle. But the one thing I can't stop being is a father, man.
Absolutely.
So it ain't no excuses for that, bro. I'm just saying, it ain't no excuses. Don't, oh, well, you know, she trying to take me to court, blah, blah. Okay, take me to court. The judge gonna look at the birth certificate. He's gonna say, okay, well, is his name on the birth certificate? Yes. Okay, is there a reason why he can't get visitation? No. Well, why is he not getting visitation? If I'm going to make him pay you, why is he not getting visitation? It's just that simple, man. Ain't no excuse for that. And sometimes I think we allow for these excuses to creep in, you know, because it's possibly easier to deal with the situation at hand. You know, it's easier to just throw it down and say, you know what, she ain't trying to let me. Okay, well, then how you gonna teach your kid how to rise above adversity? How you gonna teach your kid how to look injustice in the face and stand proud if you wasn't really willing to stand up for the injustice that was being done not only to you but to him? Because to rob a kid of their father is to create a serious amount of injustice on that child's future.
That's good.
So that's just my opinion.
Good deal.
On the slow bus, dog. On the slow bus.
Cut it out, man. Mute your phone for me, Kurt. Mute your phone for me. Let me go to Cassandra. Cassandra, what do you say to that, man? You got somebody before you, Cassandra, and they said that I'm the dad, but you know she won't let me be in my son's life. And then her dad, you know, he think he my son's dad because he blocking everything and he won't let me in and block and all these different scenarios. Cassandra, what do you say to that person? What do you tell them?
No, I'm definitely telling him if his desire is to be with his child, then he has a legal right. And see that I hate when we have to go to the people, to the court to get permission or make somebody let you see your child. To me, and women do that for different reasons. I hate it, and I've told many women over the years that is not right because you're damaging the child. And I'm one of those kids that was damaged from not seeing their father. I wanted a relationship with my father all into my adulthood, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s. I still wanted a relationship with my father. So I think that if a woman is doing that, she's dead wrong. And if he needs to go to court, I think Leonard said it, you know, he need to get his duckies together and go to court.
Wow. Rico, we talked about your father or your husband, who should be your son's blueprint. And we wavered a little bit to this area right here where a young man is saying that, well, I want to be in my son's life, but she won't let me. And then her dad is blocking the doors and won't let me in. So they won't let me be a part of my son's life. What do you say to a person that says that to you, Rico?
Well, first, to the first question you asked, I say that it shouldn't be a choice. And it would also be determined on what type of man you would want your son to be. That should determine which one you should let be like the role model for that child. But if the man isn't acceptable, then you have to go with the most acceptable person. It might be a situation where the father, the stepfather, and both grandfathers may be unfit. So you got to go to somebody else. I mean, you know, my situation is pretty similar. You know what I'm saying? With my grandfather, you know, my father and his father, they were great, peaceful, passive men. They didn't want no trouble with nobody, very passive and peaceful, you know what I'm saying, respectful people. My stepdad, he was aggressive, but he demanded his respect too. He was respectful, but he was abusive. He was flawed. He was brought up in a bad situation, so, you know, his dysfunction, he put that on me, so that made me violent and aggressive. Both of my grandfathers were uber drunks. So, you know, what I'm saying is nobody is perfect. You're going to find flaws and good character and bad character in all people. It depends on what you want your child to be. Now, this stuff about there's no excuse for a man not to be in a child's life and being on a birth certificate, having a guaranteed right. I'm going through that. That's a lot of naive talk. I'm on my son's birth certificate, and I'm still in the process now of going through these white folks' court system to try and be a father. No matter how much effort I make, I'm still having pushback from not only her, but her entire side of her family, just because she messed up like that. So now we, you know, when we say these things like there's no excuse for a man to be a father, if he ain't a father, he this and that, we got to understand that every woman that have a child is not the perfect woman, the perfect mother. You know what I'm saying? So you just heard Cassandra say what her mother did. That means that it probably was a good reason why her daddy wasn't in her life. Now, I'm going to court on October the 21st. I've been fighting for 10 years. I just found the address to get this woman served to go to court after 4 years, 3 months ago. Guess what she did after she got served? Moved. Oh, but ain't no excuse for me not being no father. Well, you can't be a father when you don't know where your son live and want nobody to let you contact him. When they playing keeper where they using them for puns, you get what I'm saying? So, I mean, you know, sometimes we also got to think in this big world we live in, it ain't just no cookie cut. It ain't in no book how things are supposed to go. Every man don't get a wife or a baby mama out of a book. And that book was printed with the same pages. These women come with different mindsets. Some women get married and with the wrong reason. They have sinister reasons why they have children with certain people. Sometimes they have children, don't know who they have the children with. They just looking for somebody to get a baby by, pinning on them. There's so many different dysfunctional and deviant and sinister people in this world. It's hard to just sit up and say, there ain't no excuse for a man not to be a father. Now, if a man has a choice, he's making a decision to not be a father, that ain't no excuse. But for men, and look, I know many men. I was on a Zoom call last week with a guy from the UK, from the United Kingdom, on the same thing. Dads against parental alienation. Dads is have children and then they can't find them because the mothers ran. Just fight for nasty women. Nothing that the men did. Some of these men have court orders, and the women still ran. Some of the men can't get the women served because they don't know where they live. If I got to serve my baby mama again, I'm in trouble. She moved again. I got to do some heavy investigation. You know how long it took me to find this woman address, man, living in Alabama, and she living 6 hours away from me. Jacksonville, Florida, the biggest city in the United States. There's a lot of addresses, a lot of roads, a lot of people you need to find out how to get in contact and find out who this person is, just so you could get them in the court system. And if you don't get them served, you ain't get them in the court system. So, you know, we got to understand sometimes when we putting all this on the father about how much power and control he got as a father, man, this ain't the same day and time no more. It ain't that day and time no more. It used to be a point in time where a man could be the man that we are supposed to be, but family courts changed that. Sinister women in soap operas and feminism changed that. There's a whole lot of stuff going on now, and it's actually proven that they are trying to destroy our families. And the way they are trying to destroy it is by trying to make us realize, or make us not realize, make us think that it ain't nothing that they're doing to divide these families. It's all on these bad black fathers. You're a sorry man, ain't you? You ain't a father to your child, you're a sorry man. We gonna keep throwing it out there when there's men out here fighting for their children and can't find them. We gonna act like it ain't women putting babies in the ovens.
Wow. Pete, talk to me, brother. What's on your heart? That's a lot, man. That's a lot. Somebody was saying something?
Yeah, Ibrahim.
Yes, sir.
It is in my opinion that the fact that Brother Rico is trying says that there's no excuses. It says that, okay, he's fighting for his solemn obligation that he knows, look, this is my son. I have bore this child. This child is my responsibility. But for a man knowingly to just give up, I think it's a problem with that, bro.
Oh, yeah.
Regardless to whatever she may do, whatever she may think she want to say, she can skip, hop, Malu, all over America. But as a father, if that would have happened to me, as a father, guess what? I'm going to keep trying to track you down. Because I don't want my kid to grow up believing that his father or her father stopped fighting for them. Stop fighting to want to be a part of what they got going on. So the fact that, if I go with the premises of your question and the topic, the fact that Brother Reek continues to fight. Okay, you moved. Guess what? I'm going to find out where you at then. I'm serving you over there. Oh, you moved again. Guess what? I'm going to find out where you at then. Now, that don't diminish the fact that you got some ignorant folk out here that will do that. You got some ignorant women out here that will do that solely for the sole purpose of hurting the man.
Absolutely.
That's the truth. That's what it is.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
But the fact that you doing that to hurt that man, guess what? That's on you. That don't stop me from even trying. The premises of your statement is it okay for somebody to basically not even try?
Exactly.
That was my point. Okay, well, that's what, ain't no excuse.
Yes, that's good.
If you try it, then you're doing what you're supposed to do.
Absolutely. Good deal. Let me go to Brother Pete, and Toussaint, come to you next, brother. Pete, what's on your heart?
Depending on how society is structured, my brother, that can have a big role to play. Okay, because in this society, the Judeo-Christian being overwhelming, marriage is for married folks. Sex is for married folks. Now, you might not have a Christian belief system or even a religious belief system, but you may have a cultural belief system that holds you. None of us are probably old enough to remember back in the day with the shotgun wedding concept, but there was no way you were going to have relations with anybody and produce offspring and not be held 100% responsible. There were no options. And that was a cultural thing that we held to. We got away from that. So some of these foundational principles of just how things are must be held to avoid the nonsense. All kind of ways and matters and things can happen, yes. And I'm not dealing with your modern chaotic world. I'm talking about just the basic what it is. If a man and a woman come together, more than likely they're going to produce an offspring. If they're not willing to be together in some form of commitment with one another to build something, then they shouldn't be coming together to produce no offspring. It's just that simple. It's just that simple.
Yeah.
So we get all caught up with all kind of stuff, not realizing that, again, where is it going back to? You. If you're not ready to be a father, if you're not ready to be a mother, and you two knuckleheads are not ready to stay together to some degree to raise that child, then why are y'all together doing the behavior to create the child in the first place?
Come on.
That shouldn't even be taking place.
Exactly.
Under no circumstance. Period.
Fact.
So we get off track with basic stuff. We get so modernized with all this modernization until we find ourselves wound up in a pool of vanity and foolishness and self-destruction.
Absolutely. Tucson, talk to me, brother.
Somebody define procreate. That's the reason why I gotta look it up. We and you'll have to excuse me. I was enjoying some Ruffles potato chips.
Okay. Well, look, were you sitting in the chair with your little legs dangling?
Like Lil Wayne. The guy name was Lil Wayne. The guy actually name was Lil Wayne. I had flashbacks again of me trying to block his shot. Life. Let me tell you.
My dear brother, the definition is of people or animals produce young, reproduce, species that procreate by copulation.
There you go. We are a product of our actions. That's what we have done. The society that we we live in, we made that. We can't blame it on the government. We can't blame it on our parents because our parents or grandparents didn't live like this. We did that.
Yeah.
And if we keep on, you think it's bad now. It's gonna be worse. Maybe you don't agree with that. But see, we live in a society and you do what the heck you want to.
Yeah.
You don't have to worry about being married, or you can marry whoever you want to, or whatever you want to. You can marry your puppy if you want to in this society, and the laws to back it up. So that's why I want to kind of, we're doing it. We're getting it on. We're like rabbits. And so when we get in situations that we allow the courts to decide make our decisions, then that we are. Let me tell you what I would do. Just me. If I had, I'm sorry, I almost said something. But
you almost talk like Cassandra.
Yeah, no, it would have to be a male Cassandra.
Uh-oh.
Because I would say that a nappy head wench
Mm.
that would try to um stop me from seeing my child. Let me tell you what I would do.
Mm-hmm.
Just me. Even if I had a restraining order that I couldn't be 1,000 feet from him, I'd stay 1,000 feet away from him and watch his baseball game, his basketball game. I would make sure that from a distance he knows somebody. Who is that man right there? You could lie and say I'm not there, but I'll be there
Mm-hmm.
as
Yeah.
best I can.
Mm-hmm.
Do
That's
all
good.
I can
Mm-hmm.
because if there's a wall, you can tear it down. If there's a barrier, you can break it down.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So when you say you just got to keep trying, you just got to keep trying. You got 18 years to try.
Mm-hmm.
You got 18 years to try. So if you try for 18 years, when the boy gets to the point or the girl gets to the point that they say, I've been seeing that fellow right there for the last 18 years. He's been trying to do something. No matter what you say about him, you can say that's a no good, low down, dirty dog, and I've been watching him.
Mm-hmm.
So when the child gets 18, see, because we try to run this sprint in life, and life is a marathon.
Mm-hmm.
And you
Mm-hmm.
just got to run it the best way you can till actually what you call it when you got different events in the you got to swim, you got
Like a
to
triathlon?
you got to
Like a
do this
triathlon?
triathlon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, life
Mm-hmm.
is more like that now.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
you got to you might have to. I can't sing. I believe I can fly because he went to jail. Anyway.
I don't know what Tucson going. I don't know what Tucson going right now, boy. Tucson. Hey, Leonard, what we gonna do with your brother, man? Leonard, talk to me, man. Talk to me, Leonard. Help me out.
Man, look, I told you before, I'm not about.
You are where you are.
Oh, oh,
No,
is he still talking?
Yeah, no, go ahead, Tucson. Finish your thought, brother. I'm gonna go to Leonard.
No, I'm just saying that. Let me use this for example. My son wanted him and his girlfriend come stay with me. I said, son, I got enough problems. I'm not gonna let that go on in my house.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not gonna let you see your grandchildren. Son, that's your children.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to come see me, I'll wait till they get 18.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll come see me because they're gonna know me. Period. You can move wherever you want to. They're gonna know their grandfather. Period.
Mm-hmm.
So you know what he did? Moved to Mexico. You know what? My grandchildren in Mexico know their grandfather.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna stop that because that's
Yeah.
my children.
Exactly.
I know that's my grandchildren, but that's mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's my seed.
Mm-hmm.
I know it's a few generations down. So what I'm saying is, you can only what you can do. Till them children get grown. Life is a bunch of vanity.
Mm-hmm.
We make a big mess out of allowing people to dictate what you're going to do in your life.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
So you push the government aside, get the government and all these courts out of your business, and do it yourself.
Exactly. Boy, you poured that thing together, Tucson. I was worried about you there for a second, brother, but you poured it together.
Don't worry about me, man.
We say help. Say help the bear. Say don't help you, help the bear, huh?
Good. Well, I ain't gonna fight no bear. I ain't no fool.
Let it what's on your heart, man.
I'm like, hey, man, you know what? I'm a lot like Tucson.
Mm-hmm.
My wife made the comment one time with one of her friends. That Negro will kill me if I try to take his children from him.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what is gonna happen. This is what I'm gonna be fighting for. Just like Tucson said. As soon as that child's birthday reaches 17, 18, they can come see me because they know I'm looking for them. I know I want to be with them, and then we can talk about why your mama kept you from me.
Mm-hmm.
But here go all of what I did trying. Now he can go look his mama in his face. Just like I made the comment about women, I'm gonna make about men. If you sleep with a trifling whore, guess what you're gonna get for the mother of your child?
Mm-hmm.
That's what you're going to get. So it shouldn't be a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You slept with a hood rat. Now a hood rat is the mother of your child. You got to deal with that for 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
My mother used to say, yeah, that's an 18-year sentence right there. So you remember that, young man, when you out there trying to get that little 4-5 minutes of pleasure, these little girls are ruining your life because you round here mating with anything that been over.
Mm-hmm.
You got to be better than that. You got to make better choices. Men, like with women. Why you having kids with men that don't work? That don't have places to live? That have nothing to show for themselves, but the clothes they got on their back. Why you mating with them?
He got nice hair, Leonard. The baby gonna have hair, Leonard.
Come on, man. I remember telling my boy, I tell you what, you can be walking around here and say the wrong crazy thing to me. It's just how you live. If that's how you live, that's how you live. I was married and got a vasectomy because I didn't want no kids.
Mm-hmm.
That I had to take responsibility for myself. I couldn't be sitting around after the baby come talking about she ain't no good.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what, I'll go out and fix myself first.
Mm-hmm.
Before I come out trying to get you to do the right thing. I can't trust you. If you don't solidify your relationship in the first place with a commitment, what you expect? That's what happens when you don't want moral values and ethics in your life.
Mm-hmm.
You wind up unmarried with a bunch of kids and a bunch of problems.
Yep.
I'm not saying you got to be married. Don't, but it's good advice.
Walk around with situation number 9, 10, and 11.
Yeah, that's all you're going to have. You've seen it how many times?
Mm-hmm.
You got people right now. You don't have to be married to have no child. So what you saying? A child should just have one parent? Some people just want a kid and don't want a spouse. And they don't want the child to even know that they came from somewhere else. That's crazy, man.
Mm-hmm.
I want a baby, but I don't want no man. You crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So, and people should run from you. You so crazy.
Exactly.
Why wouldn't you want two people come together to make a baby? Those two people are solely responsible for what they make, for what you little gods created. You're responsible for that.
Yes, sir.
So you can't sit around here and then have excuses and you got 6 kids and 6 different baby mamas. That's your irresponsibility.
Mm-hmm.
You did that to yourself. Come on, you had a dream to do this, but you laying up making babies. Now you still stuck in the same town where you was born and raised.
Sleeping in the same mama bedroom.
Now your next excuse is you got to feed your kids, so you got to go sell dope. Come on, man. I grew up like this, man. I'll see this every day. This ain't new. You just want to make bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. That's why your life is the way it is. This has nothing to do with Rico's situation. Rico trying to see his child, trying to be a father, fighting for that.
Yep.
That ain't like some guy that sit around and don't care. Or that's sitting around being a nuisance or a menace to society. You know how these women lay up with him. Police come to the house looking for him. You know he a fugitive. You know he wanted. You know he sell dope. You know what he do, but you don't laid up and had a baby with him. Now all of a sudden things supposed to change. It's not gonna happen like that. It's just not gonna happen like that.
No. Ain't gonna.
My man Pete really broke it down. Wait a minute, you got my daughter pregnant.
Shotgun.
You gonna do what you supposed to do, young man. Because if I have to do it, I'm gonna be on your back, and you don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but don't nobody want to do right. Everybody want to change wrong to right. Now you got to live with that. You've been given dominion and responsibility. That's your job. That ain't nobody else's job. How trifling is it not to know who your baby's father is?
Mm.
How trifling is that? I wish you would call in 508-924-3521.
This brother, not only did he say call, he gave the number 508-924-3521. 508-924-3521. Actually, we got a couple of callers on the line right now. We got our VP. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
I'm doing fine, but it's Friday.
Friday.
Good morning, young lady. How you doing this morning?
Hello, everyone. I miss you guys.
Hey, we miss you too, sis. We miss you too. And we talking about today, your father or your husband, who should be your son's blueprint? What do you say to that?
Well, you're married, and so I hope it's the husband. Because the father blueprint should be, if it was a good one anyway, should be yours, and that means you would have picked right. And then so it shouldn't be so far off if we're talking strictly physical.
Come on, Friday.
Father spiritually.
You got an amen corner. You got an amen corner.
Part of it in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Better preach.
So, it makes it a very easy question for me to answer, which would be my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Because we came into union and all of those things should be in alignment. And not that we're perfect, but as long as that spiritual father's the headship, then we can adjust accordingly. And you know, what we don't get right, we apologize and redirect.
Mm-hmm.
So the blueprint should be the husband.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And you got an amen corner. Leonard's over there in your amen corner. He
I hear.
Yeah, absolutely. Bishop, good morning, sir. How you doing this morning?
Man, I am wonderful, man. I just, tuned into the station. I heard that guy talking, and he talking about having these different baby mamas, and and then the child not knowing who the dad is. He talking about me? Is he talking about me? That's what some folks be sitting back.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody be sitting back saying, But yeah, he talking about you.
Yeah.
Talking about.
Mm-hmm.
You don't take care of your responsibilities. You go out here, let this girl get up pregnant, go let that girl get up pregnant. Doggone next thing you're bragging because you got 10 baby mamas, but ain't taking care of not one of them. Oh, who should my wife look up to? Who should set a tone? My daughter said the other day, they're honoring me. She spoke at service yesterday, Sunday, and she said, if I'm to find a man, then the blueprint that I'll be looking for is the one that my father has already written.
That's right.
He has taken care of all of his children. He provides for us. He gives us love. He gives us advice. So I'm not going to marry my husband, but I'm going to marry someone that will set that same precedent that my father has set.
Mm-hmm.
And he makes the standards high because he loves my mother. He loves his children. He loves God. And that's what my daughter said, man, bringing tears to my eyes.
Mm-hmm.
To hear what my daughter said, man, my sons got them and they said the same thing. I want to be like my dad.
Come on.
My dad
did
everything he could for all of his children. My oldest son came in from DC, he works at NIH and he's a scientist, and he said, the reason I'm the man that I am is because of that man.
Mm-hmm.
Amen.
Mm-hmm. That's good.
Man, just to hear my children say this, during worship service, man, they're honoring me, man, in the ministry for over 31 years, celebrating my 58th birthday. Yeah, I'm still young and handsome and all that good stuff. And my wife still, my wife still rub my chest every now and then and call me her Tarzan. But at the end of the day,
hey, you got some alcohol? You got some rubbing alcohol? You got some rubbing alcohol?
He only 58.
Yeah.
You say?
But see, rubbing that chest. I know she done cut her hand up trying to rub his chest. I know that, but Go ahead, Bishop. Go ahead.
Man, great topic, man. Great comment. You know, I Leonard had me going because I was listening to him, and I, you know, I'm just tuning in. So, but when Leonard gets started, man, you know, Leonard be hitting some stuff, man, and he don't mind. You know, this dude is just like me, bro. He called in. You got something to say about what I'm saying? Call in and let's have this conversation. And this is the problem that we face. People don't want to confront the real issue, man. Yeah, they want to turn away from the truth, man. They want to be playing these games, and I don't want to hurt his feelings. I don't want to hurt their feelings. I'm just gonna let them do this. And you know, I woke up this morning. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna shut up, God forbid, because you know I'm gonna preach a mic, right?
Exactly.
I woke up to a new article. I woke up to an article, bro, that Superman now is a bisexual.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yep.
Right. I mean, I'm waking up to a hero, a man that is profound, comes from a different planet, stronger than anything, faster than a speeding bullet, you know, faster than a locomotive, is now bisexual.
So I guess you missed the news about Robin.
Wait, hold up.
I missed
Bring
that too.
Back, sir.
I missed that too. What happened with Robin?
Robin gay too.
What? I thought Robin was a tranny.
Man, y'all stop that, man.
Batman's sidekick is gay. He just came out last year.
Man,
I know why they called it.
Come here, criminal. Come here, criminal. We're gonna stop you.
Boy, Wonder. Yeah, Wonder what he like.
Lord. Boy, I look at Leonard done took his whole self off the screen, boy. He done took, he rolling on the floor right now. But I didn't know about I didn't hear about Robin, man. I didn't hear nothing about that. Now Toya with a T talk to me. Good morning. How you doing this morning?
Good morning. How you doing? I missed a lot because I was asleep, but I'm back on track. So listen, I heard. Well, let me tell you what's been on my mind lately. I've been on this. Why we keep telling God something that He already said we is? Why we keep doing that? We just gonna override what God said. That's how we got here to want to like each other anyway. Because we don't want to do what God said. Do you know that God said we perfect? You know in Matthew it says that God said we perfect just like Him because we made in His image. Why we keep saying I ain't perfect? Because what somebody else said about you, what you're doing. So we didn't know that what somebody else said about what you're doing. Just override what the Lord said. It's like all these things is going on right now. No, you ain't gonna do it not round here, not round me. No, you're not. But we accept this foolishness. We accept it. I just said this yesterday about R. Kelly. We knew 20 years ago he was with Aaliyah. We ain't do nothing. We know Little Richie was gay. Ain't said nothing. Little Richie, if he wasn't, he so made it look like it. We said nothing. They put this stuff on the radio. We do nothing. We turn it on in front of our kids, laugh, dance, and when the little 2-year-old and the pimp start doing it, we laugh. It's an agenda. And if we can have this allowed, and I hate to have to go here, have this allowed with Corona, just like how we're having this homosexuality, we can't see that they not seeing clearly. Nope, but we don't care. We ostriches with our head and saying, oh, well, they don't come over here and mess with me and mine. They can go molest the whole world. Won't they gonna come molest mine? But you mean to tell me we don't get that the agenda for them is the same agenda for you? I don't even know if I'm on track, but I'm just saying what we doing out here.
Exactly.
What we all allowing to happen here.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna tell you something, Toya, that it's a platform I used to be on. I used to post a lot of videos. I'm not gonna say the name, but I used to post a lot of videos on there, little short videos, and I'm sure y'all know, y'all probably seen a few of them. I stopped going on that as often as I hadn't been on action in a while now, because they started having mothers and daughters having twerk off contests. where the mother and the daughter right there beside each other and trying to out twerk each other. I'm like, man, what are y'all doing?
Yeah.
What are y'all
Yep.
doing?
Yeah, you know why? Because they ain't got nobody around to regulate. You know, I ain't got no kids. I got nieces and nephews, and they will get broke down, jumped on, and busted in their face if you ever teach them babies.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what your mama said. I don't care what your daddy said. This is a standard that I walk with across the board. I don't
Mm-hmm.
care where you come from. You gonna follow the standard when you come around here because it ain't right. Now,
Yeah.
you want to be lost, you go around the corner, around the street, down the street, and be lost. But you're not gonna be that around me. I'm gonna remind you who you are, who God said you is, and that's what we gotta get back to.
Mm-hmm.
Why are we scared to tell somebody something? Why are we scared to hear somebody say, you know, I don't like how you did that today. Oh, you just this and you just that. You can't take it.
Mm-hmm.
And unfortunately, because we can't take it, because we are the adults of the world, it's going to lead us into peril because the children don't know how to take what do you call the word? They
Criticism.
don't know how to criticism.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
They don't know how to
Mm-hmm.
take a no.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as you tell them no, they want to go and shoot something up.
Yep. Yep.
But they ain't been made to do anything. They haven't been taught any values. They just born here, and because somebody walked around for 34 years in front of their face and did everything for them, and now they stand up twerking, they thinking that the baby's supposed to know better, and that's
Mm.
not right, man.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
I mean, we got to do something, America. We got to wake up, especially us, man.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. Man, we're gonna keep this thing going. Pete, I want to come to you for a second. Because we said some a little ways back, and I want you to elaborate on it. Pete, you there?
Yes, sir.
We spoke about signing that birth certificate, and if your name is on that birth certificate. Now break down that birth certificate for us. We got a few more minutes for it, so give us a quick version of what exactly is a birth certificate.
It's a certificate of birth. The live birth, it denotes a whole nother meaning in the private commerce world. You being imported through the birth canal and coming onto the land and being received in through the dock and all of this. The birth certificate makes you a ward of the state property.
Mm-hmm.
The problem with this is when we go into the breakdown, you're a citizen. You understand? So the homework is look up certificate and understand what a certificate is denoting.
Mm-hmm.
Then understand what it is to be a citizen. What does citizen really mean? So Webster and the legal definition. This is relative to your status in a society, specifically this one. So citizens are property. You're not seen in the eyes of the commerce corporate structure, a human being of flesh and blood, man or woman. You're seen as a corporate entity, a product, owned property.
Mm-hmm.
You can do with what you like with your property. So if you're owned property, you can be pushed and pulled and moved around at the will of the owner of said property, you.
Mm-hmm.
Now there is many ways, different ways to go about correcting that, and depending on your situation, your knowledge, and how you live your life in this society relative to the corporate structure and commerce, then you may want to address that.
Mm-hmm.
If not, then don't. But it does have direct meaning.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you mean? Well, it's a bond. So there's finance behind it. All the wealth that you're looking for in life and endeavoring to get is already sitting there. But you have to understand that, where it is, how to access it, and it's accessible. It's accessible.
Mm-hmm.
So that does exist. When you go into the court, you're dealing with a commercial situation, all crimes being commercial. You're dealing with financing, money, commerce. You're not concerned about you violating a statute or a code. That's corporate policy.
Mm-hmm.
The law is the original constitution. The present constitution is a corporate constitution, commerce constitution. So it's very much relative and important. When you think, I'm 50 years old, I'm a grown adult, you are an object.
Yep.
You don't control yourself and you don't own yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So you can be pushed and pulled and prodded all over the place. And then you reinforce this with applications, with registrations, continuing to make contracts, reinforcing.
So let me ask you this: if we are, it sounds as though in a roundabout way you're saying we're puppets. So who's the puppet master? Who's pulling the strings?
The corporate structure is pulling the strings. So your state, relative to the birth certificate, it makes you a ward of the state, but also the corporate federal structure. Okay. Mm-hmm. So when we go back to, I'm gonna say about 1787, somewhere around in there, you're dealing with the original Constitution. Okay. Mm-hmm. When the one with the 10 amendments in the preamble, that's original. Mm-hmm. You come on up to like 1867, 77, somewhere around in there. You bring in the corporate constitution when they brought in the insurance clause, the commerce clause. They took down the judiciary. They brought in the corporate structure. So this is what we're dealing with now. And like I say, it's very relevant to your life. Our dear brother Rico endeavoring on his mission and his fortitude and his responsibility as a man and a father. And my brother, I give you the highest of honor and respect for staying on your mission as a man. I acknowledge you, my brother, and give you certainly high honor and respect for following through on your responsibilities. Mm-hmm. But his hindrance is coming from what? Because it's not just the mother. Because if the structure wasn't there to impede, to interrupt, if the structure was you the father, you the first line of defense, and we're going to make sure that you do everything you can and should do first before we do anything, the situation would be different. So it's not just the mother, it's also the structure that wants to get in between. Mm-hmm. That's relative to that certificate, because who are the true parents? Parents. Mm-hmm. Could that mean a pair that rents? Could that be what that means? A pair that rents? Because etymology, word trickery, is absolutely a part of this game.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's good.
So that birth certificate is something serious, but the wealth, that it's a bond and it has value behind it.
So I got some money out there I can go get.
Relative to every aspect of your living.
So I got some money out there I can go get my money. Leonard, what's on your mind? Yes, sir.
Well, if you saw how much it was, you'd be going after it for real.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Leonard, what's on your heart, brother?
Oh, I live like a savage, so I don't, Mm-hmm. My whole existence is based on one. I will have no problem cutting your throat. Mm-hmm. That's it. Life or death to me. I don't even get into the things like that. I know the system. So, as long as I'm, generally happy with what I'm doing, I'm usually fine. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a lot of issues that other people have. Because no point am I ever considering you're being better than me or more than me. Mm-hmm. Because if it comes down to it, you're going to bleed the same. Mm-hmm. So I'm not as into the words people use and things like that when it comes to certain things. Mm-hmm. But this is a system. I went to school to learn the system, to manipulate the system. Mm-hmm. So you can walk around in the dark if you like. Some people do. But I haven't had a whole lot of problems when it comes to certain things because of who I am. Mm-hmm. There are certain people I can insist do certain things. You can go through the corporate structure, change your whole entity if you would like. That's available for you to do if you want to do it. Mm-hmm. But it's very, people need to understand that the system works for some people.
Yes, sir.
The game can be played and won,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be willing to sacrifice your life.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're ready to do that is when you really become free.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm more of that. I don't belong to anyone. Because the
Mm-hmm.
moment you try to make that clear, I'm going to try to cut your throat.
Mm-hmm.
So
Exactly.
it's not an advantage for you to want to dominate over me because I'm always going to be trying to kill you if that is the
Mhm.
case.
Good deal. Good deal. Toya with a T, talk to me, sis. What's on your heart?
You know, I like that talk right there. Like, let me keep talking. I wouldn't go, let me tell you something. God knows what he's doing. That's why I'm on the 77.
Mm-hmm.
Because I wouldn't have made it but 7 seconds coming out the womb with that foolishness they had going on in them 1700s. Wouldn't have made, never would have made it. Nope. Would have been up out of here.
She went into song, y'all.
No,
She went into song.
I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm just saying. You know, I'm at a point now. We got this premise, right? And I'm just getting up under it. Even the spirit over parenthood. Parents got the tendency to try to make like they over God too.
Mm-hmm.
And we do wrong things. And I just had to check some folks the other day. Love them to death because they're my parents.
Mm-hmm.
But you don't get to disrespect me because I'm grown. You don't get to do that because I'm your child.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do that. And if you feel like that's something that you want to do, then I've got to go. You're right. I ain't got to argue. I ain't got to disrespect. I ain't do none of that. But we don't get, here we go again. We don't get to not do and not follow what God say follow because you're a parent, a cop, a governor, a judge, or whoever. These are the laws of humanity. You cannot do certain things. People cannot do certain things because we're whole human beings over here. We ain't gonna go for it. You know, if you get up in court and you tell the judge that you a man, he finna stop talking to you, and he finna start talking to the next of kin because they know the truth on how this thing works.
Mm-hmm.
They know the real actuality that just like what Beat just told us, and just like Melinda said, your property according to the citizenship of America, the Constitution.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, we can do and have and say and kill you if we want to. But no. I always been that kid. No, that's not right. I mean, you're gonna beat me, just gonna get this beaten, but that's not right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Kurt, what's on your heart, brother? Talk to me.
Man, there's been a whole lot of information put out today.
Yes, sir.
I wish Pete would go on and open up and do a Zoom or I don't know, man, a streamline right here, put the brother on the show and let that brother go on and break that down and tell folks exactly what they need to do, because I've researched it myself. And when I pulled my name, bro, it was over almost 10.2. And I ain't talking about $10,200.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's some things in this system that is, you know what I keep thinking about? Outcasts or pronounced outcasts, or somebody that they just don't understand.
Mm-hmm.
I keep thinking about Big Rube poem on the first Outkast album, you know, and the way that both men, predominantly black men, are being treated in this country is criminal within itself. It ain't no other way to put it. It's criminal within itself. I think about the movie with James Earl Jones, Clarice. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're going right there. And I can't help but recognize that this whole everything we're talking about, this was a part of the design, man. Several things keep coming to my mind. I keep thinking about the white Klan member that denounced the Klan, and he was an older dude and came out and told the truth about what the Klan had planned as a result of the voters' rights, 65, 64 voters' rights legislation. How they plan to, okay, look, we're going to keep our kids out of trouble and we're going to send them to police departments. So now they police, they wearing a badge. You know, I think about the whole idea of, I call it diplomatic immunity for police departments. If you, come on, man, like the way the system is set up, it's almost set, for us to fail. And then, I mean, you think about what's going on in society, like, you don't even know where.
Hey Kurt, your phone dropped a little bit on us, brother. It went real low.
Right in my face and said, man, we ain't gotta kill y'all no more. We don't expect the system, so they're trying to kill yourselves.
Hey Kurt, can you hear me?
Yeah, so I think about all that, bro. I think about all of that, man. Like this American system been crooked too long, and now the system is breaking.
Exactly. Let me go to Tucson. What's on your heart, brother?
Good conversation today, man. I just had to, it can't be nobody but me. But you know what? And I'm sorry, I'm apologizing already. But you know what messed me up? Because I thought he was a player.
Who that?
Rock Hudson.
Lord.
Stop it.
Lord.
Shazam. Golly.
They done bought Jim Neighbors in there. They done bought Jim Neighbors up in there. Lord. Boy, got a lot of mess going on. It's a lot of mess going on. It's a lot.
We're a product of our environment, my brother. Unfortunately, we are. And when you because people at a certain point they had a discreetness, they had a sense of, even if you think that they did, go ahead. They had a sense of morals and values, and they had a privacy. Listen, they had a privacy about their lives. But we've gotten to the point where, you know what, I do what the heck I want to, and I want to put it on public display. And so when our children see this kind of action, we create what we have, and we got to deal with it.
Wow.
So the reason why we don't know how to deal with it is because you didn't let it get out of hand, and you don't know where to start.
Exactly.
So there you go.
There you go. Friday coming to you, and after that, Bishop coming to you after that. So Friday, what's on your heart?
Well, there's been a lot of information you put out. I just really feel in my heart in this moment that with the topic that we're talking about blueprints and we should follow, and even things that Toya the T was saying, we really have to take in everything that is happening right now and just really think about that phrase blueprint. There's a blueprint given, and there's a blueprint not being followed. And there's individual blueprints within that larger blueprint that's supposed to govern us to know how to deal with one another. To the tune of, if they're in Christ as we are, then we are supposed to be calling them out. And we are supposed to be offering those corrections in love. I think a lot of times we get caught up thinking that everybody has accepted Christ, which we would hope that they would, but they hadn't. So we spend a lot of time trying to correct people who don't care anyway.
Exactly.
That's all I got.
Hey, that's plenty. That's plenty. Bishop, what's on your heart, brother?
Man, I'm gonna tell you, like I said earlier, this is a great topic, and looking at what person to be the role model. And I always tell everybody, include my son-in-laws and my son, you're an individual, be you, but be the best you that you can possibly be, because you got little ones looking at you, and they need an example of what kind of person or what kind of man that they should be, trying to pattern themselves after. And that's it. I don't think myself up as though I'm the greatest there is. I don't do that. But what I do is tell you and others, man, you can be the greatest you.
Yeah.
Don't allow anyone to dictate and control who you are as a person.
Come on.
You change the narrative. You write the book. You make things work for you, and you do it in the right way. So I'm so much against all these guys going out here and laying out with all these young girls and getting these women pregnant. And then when they get pregnant and because they were dating or whatever, they break up, then they want to deprive the child the right to be with their father. Now the father got to fight tooth and nail to be able to be a father and be a part of the child's life. This is just plumb tomfoolery, just tell you the God honest truth. And it doesn't make sense that two consenting or grown individuals that cannot sit down at a table and do what we need to do for the best of our child is a selfish, self-centered individual that don't care about nobody, that especially that child that they have with someone else. So, you know, that's it in a nutshell for me. I appreciate what Pete was saying, what everyone is saying. Donald messed around and went somewhere, and I'm gonna piggyback on what he just went to. When, you know, we talk about Rock Hudson. Well, how about Mike Brady, which is Alan Reed? Or how about Ironside, better known as Terry Mason?
Wow.
Hey, you'd be surprised to find out who is what. And then society is now saying, and I don't want anybody misconstrued, we love everybody.
Everybody.
We do. We don't have no hatred towards anybody. There are some practices that we don't agree with. There is scripture that will completely line up with what we're saying. So I'm going to go according to the scripture, but I'm going to love the individual. And I know that somewhere in their mind, it has been corrupt looking at what's going on and what seems to be the pattern. And when Toya came back, you know how my stance is on these folks talking about they ain't perfect. I ain't perfect. And then you allow someone to put that little negative thought in here, you're not perfect, when Christ told us to be perfect. And he explained to us what perfection is. Not a headache, a backache, or eating all the potato salad. It's love. Love itself is the bond of perfectness. So Toya, thank you so much for bringing that to light, because I say it so many different times. And for me, if an individual allow that word to have precedence, then they have to accept every negative thing that someone is doing in life, because you know what they're gonna say? I ain't perfect.
Now look here. Now let me say this. You told the truth, brother. Never give a preacher the mic. Lord Jesus, we gotta get out of here, man. Look here, never give a preacher the mic. Lord, I'm gonna come back to you for you to pray us out. But right now, Toya's gonna tell us what's going on at 3 o'clock today.
All right, if you want to check out this show in its entirety, go ahead and check it out on www.dkmeassociates.com.
And she got to say it like in its entirety. You got to say turity now. You got to say turity. Let me hear you say.
No, I ain't gonna keep saying stuff wrong on purpose. They already talk about it being dumb and don't know nothing. I'm just playing. Entirety.
There you go, Bishop. Let me get you the prayers out, sir.
All right. Righteous Father, in your name, Christ Jesus, our Lord, we come before you this present hour. Thank you, Lord God, for this show, Lord God, and allowing us to rise to see and be a part of it. And we trust and pray, Father God, that the words came out of our mouth will be, acceptable in your sight. And we trust and pray that the words are being beneficial to those that are listening. In all the different countries and all the different places, Father God, allow your word to touch their hearts and cause them to change the error of their way. Lord God, continue to bless Raheem, DKM Media Group, and all that call in the associates, and help make this a greater station, that the world will be able to stand by, take a look, and be able to rejoice that the word of God is being put out. In your name, Christ Jesus, our Lord, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Again, I want to thank everybody for joining us. And more than that, I want to thank you for allowing DKM Media Group and Associates and the Morning Glow to be a part of your morning. It is 10 o'clock. We're about to exit the Morning Glow. But before you go, I want you to do me two favors, if you will. One, I want you to continue to pray for us, because we're certainly praying for each and every one of you. Number two, why this is real simple. I want you to go out there, find somebody and give them a hug, because you never know. It could be the only hug that they get, or it could very well be their last. Love you. Good morning, public citizen. How you doing? Love you. And ain't nothing you can do about it. Go out there. Bring peace, joy, and love. Have a great day.